Yeah, okay, then
mean, you
like
can just drag another tab outside of the window when you create two windows.
No, but I need to share my whole desktop because I'm on Linux and something's wrong with it. I don't know. The sound doesn't
yeah,
carry over.
Sakura.
Oh, because I
So
have a Firefox
can you
browser.
control it?
The video? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, send it to Sakura, yo.
Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah. But like, tell him when to stop and stuff. Take notes, man. He's saying a lot of good points, Andrew, in this one.
But it's Sakura. It's like literally in the thing.
Sakura's
scroll
probably
up there.
Sakura is probably recording too.
This one with Andrew Wilson now. Okay.
It's a Rob Gray video.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh man, it's so chill out here. I got a fan.
Gotta make sure the audio is working since we're watching
I got a fan
video.
at Dollar General, bro, for like $20. Big ass fan.
20
Yeah.
expensive.
It's expensive. It's
Alright,
cheap,
is this
man.
good or did you want like a wash together?
This is good, I think.
That's good enough.
I mean, I don't know if you can hear the audio.
Yeah,
If we can
try
hear
it.
the
Check if the audio works.
Nah, I can't hear it.
It's very low.
Oh wait, is it? Then you gotta turn it up.
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah,
it's all the way
turn
up
up.
now. Might have to turn
What
it
about
up on your end.
your computer volume? I can't turn it up on my end, dude.
My computer volume is max too.
Okay, yeah. Then I mean, we gotta do a watch together.
Oh my goodness. Not finding
Yo,
your
who's
show.
that? Who just joined?
Zetetic.
Bro, why can't
Oh, yo, Eddie, what's up? Yo, are you recording,
Oh shit,
Sakura?
Eddie. Yeah, I'm recording.
I have no
Nice.
idea how good it'll go because I don't have internet right now. I'm just on my phone's mobile network.
Maybe if I do that? Can we even watch live videos on this? It's not finding anything.
Why is it not? It's not working, bro. Just put the link. You gotta put the link in there. Copy and paste it.
Maybe if I put the title in. There we go.
Alright, we're back with
Alright, is it working?
Yeah.
Which episode?
8.
Chapter 8.
Right.
I probably need to watch chapter 1.
No, like
No.
I mean,
you
it's
can
just
sort of
affordances.
watch actually like Gibson. He actually had like chapter 8 like as a separate paper and another like book of like essays like before his book came out.
Yeah.
So it's like
Called something like
Do you think,
Action Perceiving. I don't know. It's a Shaw book.
Do you think
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can have a PC later with Eric Rogers and G?
What?
Do you think you can
Eric
have a
Rogers?
BC later with
Who's Eric Rogers?
the guy I invited, the guy with the YouTube channel?
Oh
This
yeah,
guy.
possibly. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if
What
I
would it be
can
about?
today. Like I'll see.
Cool.
Yeah, I just moved up here, bro, to Gainesville. I got a lot of shit going on right now.
Educational.
Yeah, it's
Right.
nice.
Alright, the video's working now.
I don't see anything.
Alright,
I see the
back
video.
with
I can see the video.
And then come back. I don't, okay, now I see it. Now I see YouTube opening. Okay, now I see it.
Alright, we're back with
Okay.
another edition of Perception Action Journal Club. We're
Do you guys see it?
our way through this
Yeah.
book.
Yep.
I changed the quality. Will it change for everyone or just me?
No, just you.
No.
Oh, okay.
You probably also change the volume and stuff. Also.
All right,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
up
but
once people.
Sakura's the one who can pause it. So
I am the one
We
who
can't pause it?
pauses.
I can
no,
definitely.
we can't unpause it or pause it like Sakura. Only Sakura can. So just like tell Sakura like, yo, pause it.
I'll have to scramble to pause it. All right.
Yo.
I'm starting it now.
All right, we're back with another edition of Perception Action Journal Club. Again, we're working our way through this.
Yeah, that's good.
Like,
And you can put on the captions. And...
approach to visual perception. J.J. Gibson. We've got a huge chapter today. This is the theory of affordances. So, I was saying to Marianne before we came on in, to me that I think it's this chapter is remarkable. First of all, there's so many quotes you recognize from other things.
Yeah.
But also, it's the way he delivers it is so unassuming and kind of
Yeah.
But I was saying to Marianne, to me this is the behavioral science equivalent of the theory of relativity.
Yeah.
Which like flips everything on its head. Like it's that important and significant, but it doesn't. I think a lot of people miss that because
Well, because again, he's doing. It's funny, like it's like the rest of the book in that it's just a little bit sneaky, right?
Yeah.
Because he's talking very calmly and matter of factly,
Yeah.
right? If he was writing that, if this was a popular science book right now, this would be the chapter where the author would be like, and this is the moment when it all changed, and, you know, and he's just like, okay, well, the next thing we have to talk about is this.
invented a whole new word. So yeah, no, I think it's quite remarkable. So this is, well, obviously, I don't know what this is. One of his biggest ideas, obviously.
Yeah.
Right?
It's also the other thing that was occurring to me. It's really interesting to read this chapter having just read the previous 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I've mentioned this about the other chapters. This book really builds and develops, right? So each chapter builds and develops on what has come before, and so does this one. And I think it's funny. Like I think when we talk about affordances and we talk about Gibson's take on affordances, we really just focus on this chapter by itself.
Yeah.
And reading it and thinking about some of the right, he's famously a little bit ambiguous in places in this chapter, right? Where there's room to maneuver on exactly what an affordance is. But reading this chapter in the context of the rest of the book, I think, ties a few of those ambiguities up and makes it less weird.
Yeah.
So it was just a very interesting experience to not go to this chapter by itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think this hammers home some of the key things that affordances aren't. Like I think the idea that you perceive opportunities for action from your environment.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. But like they're not like the idea, they're not learned associations.
Right.
That's where because you spend so much time building up the information from the environment, gives it this rich source of information. It really I see what you mean by that.
Yeah.
Like, directly perceived is
Yeah, and it's not the end result of any mental operations of putting elemental parts together. For example, right? You know, the affordance of
and these guys are real deal like researchers, you know.
Yeah, man. And I'm excited, bro.
They really know this shit because they've done like experiments on this shit. You know? Lots of it.
I want to the guy who designed the one where you're standing on a thin thing and then they move the walls. Whoever designed that is a genius.
David Lee.
Oh yeah, that's a cool.
Yeah,
one.
it's called the Lee Room.
There's also I think affordances are learned, but like it's
not really so much that the affordances are learned. It's rather you're learning.
Learning the right variables.
Yeah, you
Wait,
lagged out,
you cut
Joe.
off
like
there.
You lagged out,
the
bro.
information, you know, the right
Yeah,
information.
Yeah, you lagged
Did
out.
yeah, like that. Yeah.
You were like, it's
Yeah.
not so much about learning.
Really?
And then it's about that bow.
No, you'll see. They really go into that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't spoil it. So.
fact that something's a seat, you can verbally describe it as a flat surface, sufficiently rigid, plus knee height, plus whatever.
Yeah.
So you can describe it that way. But the verbal description, you can describe the pieces it's made of. But Gibson's really clear about the idea that the affordance is experienced not as the sum of those parts, but as the whole thing that those parts make.
Yeah.
Invariance
of invariance.
Invariance of invariance, and it's
It's an invariant, right, as he said.
He's like, why not, right? Like, I've talked you into having higher order invariance and information. The fact that there are higher order invariants, why can't there be higher order, even higher?
Yeah, Bob Shaw has some really interesting stuff on this, like on like invariance of invariance or Gibson's idea of that, and like I don't know, he talks about there's this thing he talks about like in this context, like fourth order, like third order isomorphisms and fourth order isomorphisms, and like like I don't want to get into it, but it's like it's some cool stuff that Shaw talks about. I can link the paper. Hold up.
Yeah, because the invariance and
Right,
invariance
so,
stuff
like-
sounds.
So like an invariant, like first order would be like something solid that you see that is like standing still. Is that like
Not
first order?
so much. No.
Okay.
It's like I'm trying to remember. One second. I'm looking at the
Affordances are higher order property because it's not like there's nothing to do with
No,
the color
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
stuff. Those would be like considered like first order
Sure.
properties.
This is like he goes really into it in this paper. Hold up.
So it's not about what you perceive first.
Yeah, if you control F in this
That's
paper
not what
for
first order properties is.
no. If you control F for in this paper for fourth and third, it's like it's like a contrasting thing. Like the third order isomorphism is like uh it's like like a different view. Like it's like
Does this
like
have
sort
to do
of
with Stoffridgen's
Do you have
higher
to
order
put up paper
affordances?
for this?
yeah, right here.
Mm.
It's in VC text. And there's the Gestaltists rejected the first order isomorphism fallacy. They talk about like Sean Turvey. They talked about it in one of their papers in 1981. That's probably in the Turvey, like in the collection of Turvey's papers. But yeah. I'm just like trying to remember what he said in this paper. First order isomorphism fallacy, right? And then the Gestaltists, they rejected the first order isomorphism fallacy in favor of a second order isomorphism.
Don't know what that means.
Well, like you see it in sort of in Turvey's lectures on perception when he's talking about the Gestalt view. Their view is like there's an isomorphism between like the neural organization or the organization of the neural representation and the environmental state of affairs, right? That's like a second
You say
order
basically, you live in your own world. You live in a
Yeah.
living phenomenal world. You live in your own mind. They still haven't bridged the dualism,
Hmm.
basically.
Yeah, and then there's like I
Even though
forgot.
they had
So
their theory of
you're
affordances is very
criticizing some
similar.
other view here. That's that what you're doing here.
Yes,
Yes,
it's so
so
it's like in his Inexplicable, like Sean Turvey argued in the explanation of Gibson's ecologically scaled functionalism that his notion of affordances as invariance of invariance, i.e. compound invariance, as like an invariant combination of like surfaces, substance, and medium, right? Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't track. No, sorry.
No, it's like it's a quote from Gibson.
Okay.
But yeah, called this third order isomorphism, or
So
still demands a
are
still
these
higher isomorphism.
so are like different orders?
It's like the view that it's talking about basically. I think they're referring to this paper, a realist perspective on perceptual organization.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
just wanted to know what the different orders mean.
No, yeah, I'm just like I'm just
I'm not gonna dig through papers for this.
okay. Then don't fucking ask questions, dog.
What?
Yeah,
Are you gonna teach it if that's the only way?
I'm not trying to teach. I'm just telling you what to look at in the paper.
Okay.
Okay, if you don't want to hear it, then don't fucking ask.
Yeah, I wanted to hear it. I didn't want to read it.
Okay, then don't fucking ask.
What?
Okay, this...
Yeah,
It's the only way to know stuff
I'm
is
sure.
to
I'm
read it.
sure. Yeah, I'm
Let's continue the
sure.
video.
Yeah, books. Everybody else
No one's
got.
interested in this.
I mean, I think it's interesting what Shaw talks
No,
about there.
I'm talking about the argument. I'm not talking about.
Yeah, it's just
price.
bullshit. Zetetic's bullshit.
Okay, just
Well,
continue.
the invariance with invariance stuff, it kind of sounds similar to the whole like nestedness kind of stuff.
It's
that Gibson
it's
also talks
it's the
about.
coalitional stuff. It's the coalitional stuff that they talk about. Like they used to talk about. There's like they have a whole paper on it. Like they have 2 papers on it. A Sean Turvey. Here. Here's the other paper on it. I already posted one.
Let me look up. So,
I can't see a green. Okay, yeah, there's a green bubble. Sorry.
Here. Those 2 papers there are on coalition stuff, and the first paper was the one from Shaw, talking about the the first order isomorphism fallacy. Yeah. Okay, continue the video.
oh, okay.
I was just getting some stuff to smoke from my room.
Why can't I click on it? There it goes.
There's so many things in here, like I say, that he just sneaks in, aren't there? I mean, he does say, like, he casually says, "Oh, this is a radical hypothesis," but he does that just so.
Yeah.
Is it playing for you guys?
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not playing for
He
me.
does say
Oh
that.
shit.
Oh, damn.
Picking out again. Picking in again.
I can go back like 10 seconds, see if that works.
There we go. I mean, is it paused?
Yeah, right now it's
Right now,
paused.
yes.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Unpause it, see if it plays.
All right, I'm unpausing it now.
There's so many things in here, like I say, that he just
Okay,
sneaks
yeah, it's
in,
working.
aren't there? I mean, he does say, like, he casually says, "Oh, this is a radical hypothesis," but he does that just so.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Yes.
He does say that. That even right at the beginning where he talks about values and meanings of an environment being directly perceived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that value and meaning isn't something inside your head necessarily, that those things are
Computed, yeah.
I mean, even
That's
just
the
that
radical idea.
is huge, isn't it?
Well, it changes everything
Pause.
because it means that values and meanings are.
Somebody say pause.
Yeah. So, like, to be clear, like the value is like a relationship between you and something else, and that's what you're directly perceiving. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
This is probably the
Public.
best part of Gibson's thing.
Bro, there's a fucking like I don't know, bro, a crazy big bug like crawling around right now. What the fuck is that?
Bro, I thought you escaped the bugs, man.
Nah, bro, they're everywhere in Gainesville.
What do you mean? You're still in the swamps?
Is the bug that Sulu had in his house yesterday?
All right, yo,
Florida.
we continue the video.
I
Not private, right?
Yeah.
So we can have shared values and shared meanings of objects, right? Because we are in the same environment, we might have slightly different views on the object, but because what we're actually experiencing is the things that are invariant over that transformation, and because all of that environment is public, right? You made a really big point of that earlier on about the moving point of observation, like. That means that my understanding that the meaning of my environment is something that you share. Like it's not just it's funny. Like so, Dennett would say, well, we take an intentional stance on these things. I work on the operating principle that you and I share some experience. Gibson saying no, it's a fundamental part of perceptual reality that you and I share. Those things
Yeah.
you don't have to take a stance. You don't have to make an assumption. It simply is the case. Like that's actually wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole theory
And
of mind kind of it just kind of throws it. Yep. Yeah.
yeah,
Going.
that's
Yeah,
the first.
it's just the
not
continuity.
yeah. It's not
Oh, yo,
it's
what's
not a
up?
mystery.
Yeah. Yo, it's good. It's good.
All right. Well, he has a little conversation to have.
No, you could keep playing it.
All right.
This chapter, isn't it? And he goes on and he talks about places and hiding and things like that. But all of those things, and animals hide. When you start thinking,
Yeah,
of
they
all the
told me I
things
could
that
smoke
actually
out here,
symbolize
right?
that,
It's
there's a
cool.
recognition of an affordance for
Mhm.
self and others,
Ah,
and
Mhm.
particularly others of different species, in order for you to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the experience of when I held that, when I was in that point of observation,
Mhm.
if I was in that point of observation, I wouldn't be able to see behind this.
Yeah.
Right. And that the assumption that anybody else is it's not even an assumption. It's the fact that by the way perception works, if Gibson's right, when I'm in that point of observation, that surface includes that area.
Yeah.
So if I'm in that area, I am occluded by anybody in that point of observation. Like, and just think about that's how you hide,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so
Like,
Gibson's just saying that
yo, can you pause it?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yo, so I mean, there's like a comment under the video pointing out how like Andrew wasn't really making the point well enough. Like Gibson, really stresses this earlier in the book. It's like, you know, it's not it's like, the way he's describing it kind of sounds like, I'm like remembering that, like, oh, if I'm standing over there, you know what I mean, or something like that, right?
Yeah, he said
And
like that's how you hide. I don't know.
no, yeah, but no, it's like, it's really what Gibson, when he was talking about it earlier, it's all about really the continuity of event transformations,
What does that
just
mean?
like the invariance
Like
over
the
events, like transformational invariance, right, as opposed to perspectival invariance. He makes that distinction earlier.
even
Like,
occlusion of things inform you. It's not something you store in
yeah.
memory. It's just like there's still information about things being occluded.
Hmm.
You don't need to appeal to like memory states or anything like that.
Hmm.
What is an event transformation?
So think it's an
Like one of
event. Right?
if
The
you're sitting at the
transformation,
table,
there's an event has, there's a transformation and an invariant, right? Basically, it's
like if
just like
someone takes a
Oh,
bottle and puts it behind a surface, like that's transforming the
there's only invariance
um
across a transformation. There's only transformation with something invariant across the transformation. That's just like it's talking about the transformation part of the event, right? But it's the continuity of these transformations, right? So it's like we've talked about before. I don't know if you were there as a TEDx, but we've talked about before how sort of like we want to talk about the description of light that's relevant to behavior, right? At the ecological scale, right? Without like that pre-exists animals, right? That pre-exists any animal, that pre-exists perception, that doesn't even that doesn't depend on, a perceiver occupying any possible point or position or path of observation, right? And so it's like, there's like an omnipresent like sea of like energy, right? You're just like immersed in it, right? And so like what it's like there's invariance, right? Just like it basically, the whole idea is about a moving point of observation, right? You get what I'm saying? Like we've talked about this before, right?
no, sorry. You can just continue, I guess. I don't know.
No, it's the continuity here, right? That sort of, I don't just ever pop into existence out of nowhere, right? You know what I mean?
Okay,
I get
yeah.
I get over here because I'm from over here and I'm doing
Right,
this
right,
thing
right.
to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So the way I move around, right, through the surrounding, right? The like move around among things around me, right? I I
That's an
do it
event
lawful.
transformation.
Yeah, and it's lawful, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like the changes in like sort of like the accretion and deletion of optical solid angles, right? Like just like
why can't you
it
just call it an event? Why do you have to add transformation there?
because it's talking about the event transformation, the transformation of the event, right? The
The
transformation.
transformation of the object, such that
Well,
it's an event.
well, of the information, the structure of the ambient array, the ambient optic array.
Uh-huh.
You know all the graphs that Gibson has, or in Turvey's book, or whatever. They have like they show like the like cones, right? The moving cones in the optic array. You know what I mean?
So it's like to observe an invariant from a different angle is a transformation.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean it's like sort of like across the transformation, right? It's lawful. There's a continuity across all transformations, right? All
Right.
transformations in the optic array, right?
Right. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I understand these parts of it. Okay, whatever. Just continue. I don't want to waste your time.
No, yeah, it's just an important point. That's just like how like
Yeah, you
sort of
just called it bullshit earlier, so I don't know. I don't want to waste your time.
no,
Sorry.
it's how like animals, right? They can hide from you, dude.
Like,
You get what I'm
it's
saying?
just talking about the like meaningful aspects of things being occluded. If you see that, oh,
Yeah,
from this point of view, when there's something behind that wall, I don't see it. Well, you can know. Well, if I go behind that, that means that if someone were where I was, I
yeah,
wouldn't be visible to them. Like that's,
yeah, and you know what you have to do to make it visible, right? You know the
Mhm.
movements you have to like to take what's required to make uh the optic array, right, change in such a way, right? Because
Yeah,
those
and babies
laws are
have to
there.
learn
Yeah,
this, right?
yeah, yeah,
If
yeah,
you, yeah. So I guess like
yeah.
affordances are learned, yeah, as he said, books.
Well, it's not so much that affordances are learned. The affordances are there. It's like it's the
in the right
information.
way.
They're getting better and better at picking up the information, right? That specifies the affordance, and the information is not the affordance. You know what I mean? It doesn't resemble the affordance. It's not a copy of the affordance, right? It's what the affordance as a physical, real object, like how it structures. Uh, sort of the energy distributions, right? The ambient energy distributions.
Mm. It's like
Yeah. It's
affordance is
like
the meaning, and you're kind of just learning the right variables, the right properties that stipulate that meaning in some
Right.
ways.
Yeah.
Might not be the right words.
yeah, you're
Just
not you're
like
not learning the affordances as such. You're learning like what is required to detect.
Like you're
just
learning to
just like
see the
occlusion event.
affordance.
Just like occlusion perception. It, you know,
Mhm.
it's exactly like that. You're able. Basically. I mean, there's invariance across sort of moving from vista to vista, room to room. And from your house to down your street, out of neighborhood, right to the store. Out of the city.
Right. So
You know what I mean? There's
the
invariance
point is
all
like you're
across.
still perceiving something that is occluded. Like you saw someone behind the
Yeah.
door, and now they closed the door, but you're still perceiving
Yeah.
them because you know
Hmm.
they are there. I guess that also ties
Yeah.
into like higher abstractions with like concepts and such, because you're saying like concepts are
Yeah,
also like perception, right? A form of
Yeah.
perception.
But
Yeah, and it's like
in a
sometimes
sense,
babies
but
like they even like struggle with like object permanence and stuff. It's like if somebody's hiding behind
yeah.
something.
they have to learn that occlusion doesn't mean disappear, right? It's still
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
here's a good point. Here's a good point for sort of give the Gibsonian theory of learning is they say it's like the differentiation theory of learning as opposed to an enrichment theory of learning, right? And so it's basically like I don't have to fill in the missing
Oh, that's
pieces, right? I don't have to fill in the missing pieces because it's like I'm sampling the array. The information is structured. The work for structuring like all this order, right? The environment has already done that work, right? And so it's like perceiving perception is never at an instant, right? I'm sampling it right sequentially, but like that's
So like
it's like this, right? I what do I need to do, right? I don't need to sort of create the next thing. I just need to look over here. I need to use my eyes. Look over here. Look there. Look at this other thing. You know what I mean?
like the object permanence thing. It's learning the difference between something not actually being
Mhm.
there and it just being occluded.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
if you think like to the baby, the parent might leave for the day and it's not going to be there, but the parent just going behind the wall. Like it needs to learn that okay, I don't see it right now, but it's not the same kind of not being
Yeah,
there.
but
Yeah,
it's
it's like
not.
if
It's
you play
not
like
like sort of.
peekaboo with a kid, you know.
It's not like it's not learning by that. The way you're describing it kind of sounds like learning by association, though. You know, it's
Well,
very.
I
We
really
have
meant
to
more
be.
like differentiating the
Yeah,
forms of like
learning by differentiation is the key. And but what are we differentiating, right? We're differentiating sort of the information, like, but like the information, right, is for guiding action, right?
Mhm.
So it's like, like what are they gonna do?
Aren't
You know what I mean?
affordances for guiding action?
Well, it's affordance based control. Like the affordances are what structures the information, and the information is what specifies the source of its structure.
Huh. I
There's
don't
a
know
lot of
what that means.
well, like there's a whole book on the physics of like the Gibson's view of information. Like there's a lot that goes into like the actual like physics of it, and it's all been like really like worked out, like really worked on, for like decades. So I'm not just like spewing like bullshit, but I don't,
Yeah, I know you're not, but like,
yeah, it's just like,
I just prefer
uh,
learning in VC, like
yeah,
talking with
yeah.
you and Socratic method and
I
all that
know,
stuff.
yeah. You don't like to read it. Yo, who the fuck, bro?
who's got the fucking
Jesus.
fan
Mute
on?
it, mute it, mute
Zevel. You got a fan going on. You got to mute yourself.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah. So the baby. What is the baby gonna do, right? That's the question, right? You get what I'm saying, right? It's not like I need to learn by association. Like, oh, they leave this many times and come back this many times, so it's probable. Da 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 da.
Yeah, no, that's not
Computationalism.
what I meant. I really meant like differentiating, in some sense,
Right.
the meaning behind the
It's
clues
like,
between like the parents going to work and the parent just actually playing hide and seek, right?
yeah, exactly.
Well, one big difference is that they think one of them is a game.
Yeah, and we're like
So, never mind.
like they really like Gibson really emphasizes the difference between sort of perceiving an object being occluded and perceiving an object going out of existence, right? Well, like by going out of existence, it means being sort of
Destroyed or
like, well, obviously it's being like replaced by something else, some other substance, something something is like a chemical sort of uh reaction, right?
house burning down.
Yeah, like a house burning down, yeah, exactly. Or just like a fucking like something getting like smashed into a bunch of pieces, like a bunch of fractured pieces. Yeah, he has a lot to like.
Deer in front of a train.
Yeah, he has a lot of studies on that too, like the invariance of like fracturing and all that. Yeah, like on specifically on the difference between perceiving an object going out of existence and perceiving an object being occluded, and the
Deer
importance of that,
making
right?
mist.
The importance of that is like, well, if you see an object sort of moving at like at some speed, right, going like it's gonna get occluded by this other object in front of it, right? It's gonna go like it's gonna go behind it, right, and pass out the other side, right? You're not gonna be like, oh, where did it go? You know what I mean? Once it goes behind the object, right? And like they did a lot of studies on babies on this. Like they get surprised, like really surprised when like when you do make the object is going, it's gonna go behind the object, but then like there's something behind the object that stops the object from going again, like on the other side. You know what I mean? Coming out the other side, right? And they're like, "What happened?" You know? Let me look over there, right?
I was thinking, bit of a tangent, but someone designing a horror game with that in mind would probably make a very good game. Like just
But
fucking
yeah,
around with
I thought that was a
occlusion.
really good point. You know, like how Boots always like he's always like trying to bring in impoverishment when just like oh, but you're just like you keep sampling da da da. Yeah, like you're but that's part of like that's part and parcel of perception. That's like really essential. You know, just sampling and like refining. Well, not refining, but like differentiating finer and finer differences. You know, uh more precise details and all that, right? More facets.
More
You know what I'm saying?
focus.
Yeah, I remember Birdie.
Yeah.
Like,
But
kind
it's
of.
sort of like I don't have to that doesn't just like unfold from within me or out of nothing, you know what I mean?
Mm.
It's like I just have to look over here. That's what the differentiation theory means instead of the enrichment theory, right? Instead of creating the fucking integration that I need to be able to do this
Yeah.
scanning, this sampling, you know? I
It's
just
not like
like
some
look over
deduction you're
here.
making up
Yeah.
by
Right.
taking states of moments that you've experienced. Like
Yeah,
the
I don't
information
need
is
innate
very
knowledge to
raw.
sample the array.
Yeah.
I don't need innate knowledge to sample the array, bro. I just need to look over here and look over there and look at this thing and look at this thing. Right? Yeah, I heard that point in one of their more recent like I think it was lecture 10. Maybe lecture 10 or lecture or no, sorry, not lecture. Chapter 10 or chapter 9. They made that point. Like you just got to look over here. And I thought it was like really profound for me. You know? I was
Why
like,
is it called
oh,
an
Yeah,
array?
it's very
that's a really good
simple.
way. That's a really good way of
Like,
putting it.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
Why
oh,
is it?
because
well, what if we have this impoverishment there? Well, have you thought about just fucking looking around first? You know,
yeah, yeah, but that's the key. That's the key. That's why activity, action is so key, so essential to a theory of direct perception. You know,
All right.
that's what I mean. Like perceiving is acting. You know,
Yeah.
Perception
I
is
gotta
an
perceive.
activity.
Yeah, it's exploratory.
All right.
Why is it called an array? Is that just provision or other things too?
well,
Uh,
there's the acoustic arrays. It's just like a
array means arrangement, basically.
yeah,
Just like,
Okay.
but it's an ambient arrangement.
Right. I guess that makes
like in
sense.
the introductory book. There's the optic array. There's the
Yeah,
acoustic array.
Gibson explains why he uses the term array in his book. By the way, I mean, if you read it, you'd be like, oh yeah, Gibson already said that. He was like, oh yeah, it means arrangement.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and like so many
yeah.
quotes in here are recognized.
Yeah,
as well.
it's like smashes so many dualisms, like
Yeah.
mind, body, subjective, objective.
Yeah.
One of my least favorite. It's not physical. It's
Objective
psychological.
intrinsic.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
but yeah, it just doesn't like that's affordance is an objective property nor a subjective property, or it's both, whichever you want. But it doesn't
Yeah.
talk about either or.
No, I love that. I love that
It's,
part.
Yeah.
I think
what
they're
was,
conflating objective with intrinsic. I'm not sure.
It's not.
No,
Yeah,
he
I
didn't
don't know
have
like
he didn't
whether.
have the trichotomy. He didn't
It's
have
not
yeah,
the
about whether they
trichotomy. But look,
exist or not.
he's saying that it affordances the concept, right? It shows that the dichotomy
Is
is
inadequate.
uh is inadequate. Yeah, that's what he said in the full quote.
Yeah, so that's why we have objective, right?
yeah. The
Yes,
objective from the objectivist point of view. Yeah, that's
right, and
like a recapturing of the
that's
term.
why a notion like that of affordance is necessary for a commitment to realism.
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
importantly, what it does is it reveals the inadequacy of those
Oh,
words.
there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
It's neither an objective nor or it is both. And affordance cuts across the dichotomy and helps us understand its inadequacy.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So
we work
he-
like
Yeah. So
so,
I
like,
mean,
he's not
to be
saying
clear, Turvey says affordances are objective.
Cool.
Right. I mean, it was just Gibson being like, yeah, this seems inadequate here. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
this
he
is
uses
bullshit.
like
Based on what it meant in his
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
idea.
I mean, he's an
Context.
academic. He's an academic, so he's like speaking to the academic context. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
The way they use terms,
What
right?
does Turvey call it objective then?
Because he's an objectivist, basically.
Yeah, he's an
Oh,
objectivist.
he's secretly an objectivist.
what?
He
Does
doesn't
Turvey
say
ever
it
talk
out
about
loud.
universals?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
actually?
yeah, yeah,
Where?
yeah. I mean, it's like well, he doesn't talk about universals as such, but like the whole ecological psychologist theory of concepts is like one for one with Ayn Rand's theory of concepts. It's like it's pretty
Yeah, you're
crazy.
talking about like the Eleanor Gibson thing, right?
Yeah.
I haven't
Right,
read
yeah,
it,
that
but
I know.
Turvey's more along with like Turvey definitely talks a lot like sort of he like attacks the nominalistic and the Platonist view, right? Both those views, right? So I mean,
Yeah, that could just mean he's Aristotelian.
no, I mean
He
he's definitely
quoted
like an objectivist. He's quoted objectivist. He's definitely like I've seen
Oh, yeah?
I've seen him in like sort of collaborative papers with objectivists, like in like low key, like back in the day
just
with
Athens
they
Society or also
with
like
David Kelly.
yeah,
Oh,
subject.
okay.
Back in the
He's
day,
like the
back in the day.
subject I understand, and like kind of
But
like trying to influence.
he's
Kelly
like
introduced like
he's a
modern
scientist.
stuff.
He's a scientist guy. He's not gonna be like, oh yeah, Ayn Rand this, Ayn Rand that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
of
just
course.
not a good idea to not get attacked just on those ground if you want to, keep your reputation in those circles.
Right.
that there is a subjective and an objective, and that he fits into it. He's saying that the subjective objective dualism is a fundamental
Yeah.
error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 100%.
Yeah.
Which again, thinking back to Turvey, right? All those other theories of perception based on the Cartesian stuff take that effectively as their starting point.
Yeah. I think it's a nice later.
And it doesn't exist.
Yeah, later in the chapter you talk about the gestalts.
Yeah, this is why Rosen really
Yeah, dude.
he spends a lot of time on the subjective objective dualism, and that's why I think he really grasps the sort of objectivist view of objectivity like really well, like better than like any objectivist that I've seen, like actually like what's it called, like
Hmm.
wait, person who calls himself an objectivist. I don't know if I keep like the words not like coming to me.
Self.
Yeah,
What
I
are you
guess
trying to
if you're
figure
talking
out?
about someone that describes himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Randroid? What?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it reminds me of what Andrew Wilson said. It reminds me of what you said about the Kantian guy, where it was like there's no like perception
Christian
of the
nationalist.
object. It's just the dualism, right? They just start with the dualism. And then it's
Yeah, they just start with the
nothing.
dualism.
That idea is really, really close to an idea of importance, but they got stuck because they couldn't give up the dualism.
Yeah.
Right? They couldn't get
Yeah.
past. They went the wrong direction with it.
Did Rob just say that the
Yeah.
idealists were pretty close to it?
The Gestaltist.
Okay, I guess
Yeah,
Rob.
he said with the Celtics.
Phenomenologist.
Yeah.
The later phenomenology is
They were
idealist.
like Kantians, but
Yeah, they're
like
transcendental.
yeah, but they were kind of close in some respects.
Yeah.
What made
Monty
me
Perlo
think of
Perlo Monty,
like
I
the conversations you had with pessimistic idealists, right? In some way, he's just trying to fit these things into dualism, but when you point out like the dualism has no ground to stand on, it's like, oh, okay, well our positions are actually a lot more alike. I think that's kind of what he he was saying, and you were saying too, that the distinction between our ideas kind of go away, and there's way more in common, and you can like
Yeah,
take them
that's
all
the
back
that's
in a
the,
realist view.
that's well, like that was. Did you see the whole thing on the porosification argument? Rosen's porosification thing
Yeah,
that I laid
Andy
out.
told me he watched those
I think
videos. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see, Turvey did that in lectures on perception for affordances. With the history of the primary secondary quality distinction, right? And going through the history and how that distinction kept shifting, to like
It was
sort of
so solid.
admit more things to the primary quality side, right?
Mhm.
And then sort of admitting affordance as a new primary quality totally just dissolves the distinction completely, because you've admitted, once you admit more onto this sort of objective side, the more porous the partition becomes, until it dissolves completely, until you get the measurement, right, the impredicativities into the objective side. And then there's sort of, then what you have there is you have this, like, the subjective, the formalism, right, the measurement, right, because you have the measurement that establishes the formalism in the objective side, right? And then you could see, like I talk all about, the physics of like symbols from Patty and all that, how that works, right? That's all on the objective side, talking about that, right? So we don't have to have this dualism where we have the formalism on one side,
Mm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's been a while since I watched the video, but I understand like what you're talking about, like the distinction that
Yeah, I
evaporates.
mean, I talked all about it in that video.
I don't. It's like 7 hours, so I don't remember all of it. But everyone here that hasn't watched it should definitely watch it. It was a really good
Yeah,
talk.
watch
Very
it,
good
watch it.
conversation. Yeah.
Is it worth just revisiting a little bit, like what I can't remember if it was a couple of chapters ago when he talked about psychology. Most people talk about what's inside your head, but
Right.
that's not actually what psychology is. For me, that really helped as well in understanding.
Of behavior, observable behavior, right? Not what the brain does. The brain's
Yes.
involved in that, but it's not the
Yes,
study of the
psychology is
behavior.
about observable behavior.
Don't ask what's inside your head, but what your head's inside of.
Unbelievable.
But when you talk to people, especially sort of like lay persons, when they say psychology, that's what they think you mean, just inside the head.
They go back
Wait
to
a minute. If it is just observable behavior, then the economics should just be a part of psychology. Because
Well,
Oh.
it's about human action.
I do think
Well,
that
It
the
is a bit.
ecological approach is such a
They're
great thing to
interconnected.
bring.
I don't see why not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
there's a lot of
there's a mutuality, of course.
Even Rothbard talks about Austrian psychology.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Excuse me. The field's been telling them for the longest time.
Yeah. But I was always like, I go back to Reinhard Bootsman always said, if you're talking about behavior, the study of muscle contractions is just as important as neurons firing.
Yeah.
Right? It's just as critical to catching a ball, right?
Yeah.
It's nothing special about what the brain is doing.
Yeah, but so think about all the examples of people thinking that artificial intelligence (LLMs) are conscious or interesting. Or like Richard Dawkins just wrote an essay where he basically revealed that he had enabled himself to be tricked into thinking that his version of Copilot was talking to him, and it was just ridiculous, right? But it was just filled with this notion of, well, how could I possibly know the interior state of this thing? Its behavior is. Its verbal behavior sounds exactly like what's going on, but there's so many reasons to think that it's not an organism doing or living, and one of the reasons is it doesn't have any muscles. It's right, it doesn't have a body, it doesn't have a perceptual system. It's just made of words in a computer, so it's not made of the right sort of stuff. But there's so many people revealing themselves to be falling into the trap of thinking that if you're words on a computer, that might be enough to be conscious, right? Yeah. We're having to have long conversations about why that may or may not be the case. And Gibson would just be like, what are you talking about, right?
The
Turby
so
too.
let's think
Turby the
I
robot.
think I suspect that might be quite important.
Be like, what does that mean? Sounds lame,
What does
bro.
what mean?
That's what Gibson
Also,
would say.
what does the
Yeah.
brain actually do in your view?
Bro.
Like a nervous system.
It's
Yeah,
just
the
like
Yeah.
nervous
another.
system.
Yeah.
Here, go into G's. No, not my server. Well, maybe you can search from me in my server, or but do Zulu's
Just
server
continue, I
first
guess.
from
Never
G
mind.
Yeah, you
on
can probably
brain.
find a
The brain.
conversation
The
Never
brain.
between
mind.
G and Zulu server.
Yeah,
Never
I mean, I
mind.
literally explained it, literally everything there, like in a concise thing there.
Never mind.
So
But it's just
if
like
you want the
another
explanation,
dissipative structure.
No.
yeah. What do you mean? Never mind, bro. You're never gonna learn
No,
anything,
I
dog.
just want to converse. I don't want to jump
You just
off
want to
to
converse.
something
You
else.
just
I'm
want to.
just gonna forget it regardless. You know.
Bro, come on,
You just
man.
want to flow. Go with the flow. You know.
Vibing here.
Bro, Zetetic is such a social metaphysician, dog.
What? What does that mean actually?
Okay. You don't know what that means. Of course
No.
you don't. Because you don't read anything. You just like to converse, man. You just like to go with the flow and just never just like replace independent judgment with, just conversing, man.
What? I mean, you have to independently judge to converse. Clearly.
I mean, you can just like ask questions on the moment, but not really integrate and just kind of want to be.
Yeah, I
I
want
mean, like,
to.
you're doing
Of
that
course, I want to
exactly.
integrate. That's not the issue. I just don't want to
You want to integrate, you
open up
gotta
a
read it.
tab and scroll to something else when you can just explain it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've
Why not both? Why not both?
100%. You've seen me talk about it. You've seen me point to it. You've seen me reference it 100%. So you're asking me this, and I'm just saying the same thing. Go look at the explanation I already gave. I don't. Would you like repeating yourself all the time? I don't like repeating myself.
I have no issue with it.
Huh?
Not unless it's like 50 times. You know. I guess.
Well, yeah,
You get a better
like 50
Well, if
explanation if
it
you just
times.
read stuff.
if it's like
I
a
think.
whole explanation, you put like a good amount of effort in, and just
I don't mind
like
it.
No,
and
no,
there's like a
I
there's
like
agree.
like
learning
like
how
an
to hone
important
my skills of explaining it.
there's like an
So
important context there too, with the explanation where it is, right, with the whole conversation it's in, and sort
and
of.
that's annoying to
Why
get
is that
entangled
annoying? That's
onto.
actually
But
And it's
that's
like,
more of a it's
and
more of a
it's,
Yeah,
resource, you know.
yeah, and then when you go to read that thing, you can come back with richer questions that have not been
Exactly.
explained before, you know?
Yeah.
whatever.
Whatever, bro.
Whatever, bro.
Let's go
Alright.
through a description, like a de of the affordance, to make sure they haven't this
What
objective.
would you do without me, Zatetic?
Right.
So this thing in
Hang
front
out
of you,
in
my
Zulu server, I guess.
Yeah, you'd fucking follow Zulu.
dash, right? It has
Nah,
it has a
not fully.
properties in the environment
Yes.
that don't depend on me, right? It has a height,
Yes.
it's made of something, it's flat. Right? Those are objectives. Someone else could go and measure them, they would be there.
Yeah.
Right? And because of those physical properties in the environment, it's going to structure light from my scene that
Yep.
reflect off it in a certain way. That's information, right?
And
What
sounds. I mean, if you
and
get echo
sound, yeah, touch, and yeah,
as well. Yeah.
yeah. What's objective is whether I perceive from all this, I perceive the affordance of I can sit on this.
Mm-hmm.
That depends on me. That depends on my leg length, my height, how flexible I am, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So that's what, and then the other thing that I see this affordance of the table, as long as I have the effectivities, it's always there. It's always there. It's always perceiving it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's changing is my intentions, right? My goal.
Yes.
So if I'm not tired, right, I don't notice or I don't pick up that affordance because it's not aligned with my goals. It doesn't mean it disappears.
Hmm.
Is that how you think of it? Some people confuse that sometimes. Like I wouldn't perceive the affordance if I'm not tired. It's still there, right?
Yeah.
It's still offering me this. I could climb on it, sit on it, lie on it. What? It's always there, right?
And somebody else who can use that affordance could perceive whether you could as well.
Yes.
Or if
Yeah.
you were too tired and they were
Yes.
good at picking up movement information, they could perceive that at that moment you couldn't.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, which is really interesting.
That-
Yeah. So you could look at someone, see that they're tired, and offer them a surface to sit down on, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes,
you
yeah.
wouldn't offer them an inappropriate surface, right? You'd offer them a surface that actually affords sitting.
But what changes to me is that what changes is our intentions, our goals, and
Yes.
how the affordances align with those. That's
I
what
think it's really important that affordances pre-exist the observer, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
really important.
It's
And
always
this is one of my concerns with some of the more inactivist kind of approaches to these things, where there's an element of the organism and the environment co-create the affordance. And I think it's really important that the organism and the environment co-create the behavior, but they can't be co-creating the affordance, because if the affordance, if the
Yeah,
existence of the
remember,
affordance
pause it really quick. Remember, the affordance is, you know, like a potential, it's uh, like possible activities, right? Possible actions or performable actions, right?
Yeah, we're
Opportunities
seeking
for
to
action, right?
entertain these
And the
relations or these disputes or whatever.
the behavior is the actualization of the affordance, right? Not the affordance, but like the actualization of the affordance.
What is like the action, the goal or whatever?
Well, it's like sitting on it. The action would be sitting on the chair.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that would be actualizing it for.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of work from Shaw again on actualizing affordances. He talks a lot about this.
Mhm.
So I'll link all of Shaw's papers in VC text. I have a whole collection.
All right, I don't think we
That's
can
like
go.
his main
Oh, wow.
thing is actualization of affordances. This is his main thing.
Mhm.
VC text.
Yeah, because I remember when we were talking about like the potential and actual stuff, you were like, well, it's actually that it's like primacy of potentials rather than the actuals.
No. Primacy? What do you mean primacy? There's no potential without actual. There's no actual without potential.
You mean like there's no like one doesn't come first?
Yeah,
I swear you said primacy of potentials, but maybe it
I've
was.
never said that.
I swear you said that. Whatever.
No, I've
sitting
never said
around
that.
me, then how could I possibly bring a novel affordance into being? How would I know what to do and what to change about myself? Right? There has
Yeah,
to
but
be
that's the key.
something.
The environment and the organism, they don't co-create the affordance, but they co-create behavior. They co-produce, they co-generate the behavior. Affordance and effectivity, right? The coupling of affordances and effectivities, right?
What's
My
effectivity?
effect. Okay, bro.
Like ability on your part.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's affordances. How Shaw talks about it, it's affordances. Sort of. Well, there's an abundance of affordances, so you select some affordances as goals, right? And that constrains the effective means for realizing those goals, right? And the effective means, which are also affordances, those are effectivities, but they're sort of like the causal steps. You know what I mean? Because the affordance goal is not what's causal here. You know what I mean? It's not pushing you. It's a constraint. You know what I mean?
Like if you want to be a drummer, you got to get a drum kit. You got to do.
Yeah. If you want to throw something, you got to have a thrower, an arm, and the necessary parts.
Okay.
Out there wanting that behavior. I think I've worried about this on and off for a long time. I think, and Gibson talks about it, right? Like he talks about the fact that these things, these things exist. Right? So people get very excited by saying, well, that's not a physical thing, right? But in the context of reading this book, what he means by saying that it's not a physical thing is that it's not a thing of the science of physics.
Yes.
He's not saying it's not made of physical stuff.
No,
Everything's made of physical stuff: substances, medium, surfaces, right? So again, the context, reading this chapter in context really clarified a couple of things and really removed some potential ambiguity. He's not denying these things are physical and made of physical stuff. Quite the contrary. And he's simply saying that they're not. He's just pointing
I
out
really
the
like
fact that
how
physics
Gibson sort of like.
never even
I really like how Gibson defines substance, surfaces, and medium. You know, like substance for Gibson is like just like things can be more or less substantial in some respect, right? It's not like a fixed thing, not like a fixed flat substance, right? It's just like things are more or less substantial, like a surface can be more or less opaque, right? And yeah, and a surface is just the interface between the substance one substance and another substance, the medium. So you see, like it's very, very like no unentailed terms here. It's a very mutual like definition of all these things. Mutually entailed.
even occurred to a science of physics to go looking for something like this.
Yeah.
We've discussed in the previous chapters, though, haven't we? This idea that those affordances are there. Like you said, they precede the individuals, and they're stable enough for species to evolve. And he just then back niche, don't they? They have to.
Nonaka,
Otherwise,
actually, wait, hold up. Nonaka has a great essay on this, bro. On Gibson's like trialism, or no, like the not a tri. It's not a trialism. It's just Gibson's like uh distinct, or what's the word for three, with but not distinction, but like a distinction but with three.
Like a
I don't know.
trilemma,
I don't
trifecta,
know. I don't.
trichotomy, trichotomy.
Let me see. One second. Let me see. The perception as information detection. It's in the like title of the chapter. It's Tetsushi Nonaka's chapter in this book here. Let me put it in VC text. Great book, by the way. It's yeah. He definitely still lives. This book was in 2022, I think, or 2020 maybe. But yeah, it's like they cover every single chapter in like Gibson's last book, the ecological approach to, or the ecological approach to visual perception, is that it? And like it's like talking about like the progress that's been made since the Gibson's book, and like what we do now, in the field, stuff like that. It's like a modern rendition and review and stuff. It's pretty cool. And it's all like a lot of new information too, so it's really useful. Hold up, it's loading for me. I want to know the fucking title of the chapter. Yeah, the triad. There we go. The triad of medium, substance, and surfaces for the theory of further scrutiny. Right, that things can always be further scrutinized. Right. Yeah, Nonaka talks all about that, like in other papers too. He's pretty cool. You guys see that? The triad of medium, substance, and surfaces for the theory of further scrutiny. He has like he talks about a cool like some cool experiments he's done or research he's done with stone napping and stone nappers, like expert stone nappers. You know, like the what they talk about in Intro to Ecopsych. You know, the blacksmith and the hammer. It's kind of that kind of thing.
Is stone napper a kidnapper for stones? Did I get that right?
No, like they hit a stone with another stone, like in very precise ways, like along fracture lines to like craft spears and stuff.
Yeah. I've seen them on YouTube.
Yeah. Tetsushi Nonaka has some cool research on that, and like also like calligraphy. But this guy who only uses his feet, like he can't use his arms, so he uses his feet to do calligraphy, like Japanese calligraphy. He has a cool paper on that.
People that type with their feet.
Yeah.
That's mostly for foot fetishes, but
Okay. Oh wait, I actually have a collection of Nonaka's papers. Here we go.
give them out, paper man.
VC text. It's Nonaka's papers. All right, you can play the video back.
You know, that is fundamentally that I think idea shows that they've got to be there first.
Yeah.
And perceivable
Yeah,
and stable.
From
And
building up other chapters, it says a couple points. It just has to be that way, right? It has to, and yeah, it does. Right?
This is the other thing. This is the other thing I've realized about Gibson that contrasts him with a lot of other writers in psychology. Lots of people in psychology say things like, "Look at all the things we're capable of doing, despite the fact that the basic raw material is so rubbish." Whereas Gibson's the reverse. He says, "Isn't it lucky that the raw material is so amazing? It's the thing that lets us do all the things we do." And it's a like it's such an inversion of the approach, right? I remember learning in undergraduate psychology, like, isn't it amazing that the brain is able to do all these phenomenal tricks in order to overcome this ridiculous problem of sensations, right? And I remember thinking, oh, yeah, that is incredible. And then I discovered, yeah, it really is incredible. Actually, that makes no sense, right?
Dude, yeah, it's so crazy how we're omnipotent.
And Gibson's whole point is just maybe there's a reason why maybe we're able to do all these amazing things because of all the amazing things that are out there that we have access to.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of like God or whoever you think built us, right? They built a system with a really shitty front end, right?
Oh, right.
For it with a supercomputer later on. Like that seems pretty dumb.
Yeah.
I just think when he talks about a niche being a set of affordances, that's the same thing, isn't it? And a niche is like a whole species that's there before any
fit with the feces and environment.
Well, yeah. There's a section on page 120. He explicitly connects affordances to the concept of a niche.
Yeah. A niche,
where the niche he refers to the niche is the habitat is kind of the where the species lives. The niche is more how the animal lives.
Yeah.
And so he says a niche is effectively a set of affordances. And then and the important thing about a niche, right? It involves that complementarity of animal and organism, right? So he points that complementarity out, but then he explicitly says, but note also that the environment as a whole, with its unlimited possibilities, existed prior to animals. Boom, boom, boom. They had to be invariant for animals to evolve. And I think it's just, whatever your account of affordances are, whatever you think they are, they have to be able to live up to this.
Yeah, you've got to do that at the end. The organism depends on the environment for its life, but the environment does not depend on the organism for its existence. Right?
Yes.
It's there first. Yeah.
That's pretty clear. They have to be invariant for animals to evolve. For me, that I was like, that is such a powerful sentence, isn't it?
Yeah.
And really
I've thought about this just in the context of learning as well, right? Like if you're going to learn to do to connect to a new affordance, if you have to create that affordance and bring it into being somehow, then again, what you need, you then need something other than affordance-based control to drive the process of change that allows you to connect to it. But if the affordance predates you, then all you need and there is information for that, then you don't need an additional process to learn it. You just need the normal processes of sensitivity to information and spending time interacting with the affordance and learning how to couple to it in the normal kind of way. And that's how you get a new behavior can couple to a different affordance.
Yeah.
So this would be
we might
against
have to just
Chimera.
go back over that because I'm thinking there are things people
Yeah.
will argue that there.
He's gonna go more into that.
Oh, yeah.
Or did he already?
Assuming they're turvy.
Did he already talk about it? I thought that, like the inactivist view.
Oh, Chimera's an activist? I assumed he was.
Well, he's more like on the side of people like being like, oh, like we should try to reconcile an activism and ecological psychology things, you know?
Heft also seems to be there.
No, Heft definitely not. Harry Heft is
He gave
definitely not.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he said something about how like affordances are. He's definitely not. He's not as clear as Turvy though.
Yeah, he doesn't. He
No,
goes
yeah.
to those lectures though. He goes to the conferences for activism, and he.
No, yeah. If you've seen like there's a paper by Harry Heft, like, oh man, I don't think I have it in my Google Drive. I don't think I have it in my Google Drive, but there's a paper by Harry Heft, like you know, the Full Tilt 9 Carello paper, like where they're talking about how inactivism is incompatible with ecological psychology. The mutuality, the perception action mutuality obviates mental construction paper, and the complementarity of symmetry and asymmetry. You know those papers?
No.
No.
Complementary of symmetry and asymmetry. I think I know. The other one I don't know.
I mean, Harry Heft won't even.
Those papers are really important, but you know, Harry Heft was, you know, like there was another paper in like the inactivist kind of journal there, and like he was doing another paper also referencing that paper, and he was talking about how inactivism and ecopsych are incompatible, and activism is representational, da 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 da. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
and he's
no,
definitely
it's
not,
like-
he's definitely not
it's a lecture
for
from
it, you
him.
know.
I've seen a lecture from him on. I've seen a
Oh
lecture
yeah,
from
no,
him on.
I think I know what you're talking about. No, well, like there's like a video on YouTube, like like an interview, and he was like, "Well, I have my own like views, like on an activism, like the thing." Like he was just saying he has he's in a disagreement, you know, really.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't even defend affordances. He even told the
Harry Heft?
inactivist. Yeah, he told at the conference. He told the inactivist, "Hey, I won't defend this. I'm just telling you what it is." I think me and Books
I
probably saw
mean,
the same conference.
that might just be like a, I don't know, like a pedantic thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. I mean, Harry Heft definitely defends affordances.
Okay.
He has lots of papers defending affordances. He has lots of papers. Great papers. Yeah, he's really great. I need to put my collection. I need to put my collection of his papers on my drive.
There are things that humans do in sport that we never used to. There are things that I always think the first time anybody got on a horse must have been crazy to even think about doing that for the first time, and how audacious, but also to travel at that speed at that time. You know, like when people, I work with to ride or to
Making a plane.
kayak or to mountain bike fast. The speed perception information is
Oh,
something that they really
yeah.
struggle to be able to connect to because they're not used
I'm
to
gonna
it.
have to go for like 10 minutes, but I'll be back.
Damn. All right.
Okay, no, yeah, you can keep playing the video and stuff.
I think
That's something.
right.
Well,
Okay, so I think part of the issue is that time's an allowable factor here. So, right. Let me step back on that thing I said a minute ago. Not all affordances exist all the time, right? So think about you're playing soccer and there's an affordance, a gap between two defenders, right? That gap emerges and the affordance for passing through it becomes available. and then it goes away when the defenders do something else.
Yeah.
So as the configuration of surfaces in your environment changes, affordances, there are some affordances will come and go, but they're not coming and going because of a psychological process of co-creation with the environment. They're coming and going because the environment is dynamic.
Yeah.
So if you put someone, and so think about experimentally, what do? We put people into pretty static environments where the affordances don't change, right? So it's actually quite hard to set up experiments with more dynamic affordances, but they're dynamic in the sense of there is motion and change going on in the environment, and sometimes the configuration offers an affordance, and sometimes the configuration of surfaces does not. But importantly, you don't start interacting with it until the configuration creates the affordance. There's nothing for you to perceive. There's no affordance for you to perceive until the surfaces are configured in the right way. At which point you can then start behaving on it. But you didn't have to create it.
No.
You might have had to create access to it. So the horse riding one's interesting. So there's kind of nesting of affordances in that sense, where the first affordance is the sit-on ability of a horse, right? And so somebody goes, do you know what? I could probably sit on that. It looks like it's strong enough and rich enough. And then once you are sitting on a horse and the horse starts moving, that configuration of surfaces creates and makes available a number of other affordances, which you then have to figure out how to deal with. So there can be sequences of events, and not all things are present at all times. And but that's okay, because Gibson's always made the point again and again through the book. He said things like all his categories have fuzzy boundaries. For example, all ecological categories are fuzzy, and everything's a little bit task specific, and everything's a little bit. Sometimes it's this, and sometimes it's this. They're still basically the same kind of thing, but you just, in some situations it shows up this way, and that's okay. And he's made a lot of argument about making that okay.
Do you think part of the thing that's happening there is our ability to perceive the affordances of others and other species? So if I go back to the horse example, because we can perceive the affordances of the horse without riding it, then being on it and being able to perceive the performances of the horse rider as system, which is what we then have to become attuned to. But we've already got some of the affordances of the horse. Sorry, I've managed to get you into horse.
No, but it's an interesting case.
I just have
another thing really.
I think she's right? It's something that already in the introductory book they talk about, but we are pretty good at perceiving the affordances of other things, and then you kind of know with that, okay, I might be able to achieve other things. You can kind of take a similar idea with using bulls as tools to farm, right? To pull along those grates to labor the land. That's like exactly the type of thing that she's talking about. She's absolutely right, I think.
Yeah, and I also like what Andrew said about nestedness. I think that helps me understand nestedness a bit better. As we're going further and further through all of these affordances.
Yeah, it was
more and more opportunities for
it
action.
reminded me. It's kind of like an anecdote, but a couple of months ago, I went to ski, and I like the last time I had skied was like 15 years ago, so I didn't remember anything about it. Like having that in mind while trying to ski, I was kind of realizing, okay, there's a speed at which you go where you can make certain movements, and you got to make different movements to go faster. But as you go faster, those you don't make the same kind of movements to slow down as you were when you were going slower, or you're just gonna fall. And there's so you have to habituate yourself with, okay, what are these physical constraints that I'm experimenting to not eat shit? You gotta position your entire body to generate the proper slalom to go at the speed that you want, and then when you go really fast, you can make just small movements from left to right. And it kind of, I also connected that to in the introductory book when they talk about noise. They talk about people who like the test is that they have to follow like gears that are that are rotating in one another, and they have to stipulate based on the first one what like is the last one going to go clockwise or counterclockwise. And at some point they saw both in like their brain and how they were following it that they can the participants can just say, oh well, if this goes right, then the one goes left, so I don't have to actually trace which way they're going to go. I can just go, oh, left, okay, left, right, left, right. Kind of at the same in mind with skiing that at some point you see that the affordances of going slow start to change, and then there's this like kind of a bit of a noise when you're trying to get used to it. At some point you kind of switch into a different mode, and I guess with
Yeah.
horse riding, I did that too in my life. There's the same thing between walking with with horse, trotting with a horse, and then galloping with a horse. Those are very different things. You gotta be differently sitting on the horse to really not eat shit once again.
Yeah, I mean, another good example would be like if you're about to get in a car wreck, do you swerve or do you just slam on the brakes? Like which this is
Full
especially
speed
big for
ahead. That's what.
especially big for motorcyclists because motorcyclists
Mm.
sometimes you can swerve quickly and get out of the way, but you don't
Yeah.
want to brake while you swerve, so you have
Like
to.
it translates exactly to what Turvey was saying about how like situation X affords activity Y for organisms Z on occasion O. And it's like
Mm.
there's so many different variables that are required to even like
The
entertain
proper
some
variables will
affordance.
depend. And the proper variables will depend both on the organism, how it's made, but also the goal of it. Like if you're trying to like skiing, you're trying to maintain a certain speed, well, you're not going to go to the variables which make you go faster. You're going to stay there. But if you do want to go faster, you're going to explore different variables. But if you're smaller, might be different. If you're 300 pound, you might break the ski, but
Then the skis aren't affordable.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen the price of these things? They're not affordable anyway.
Afforded, not available.
Maybe the goal is to
Affordances
crash.
aren't learned in the traditional sense of the way we use that word, right? You're not learning that I can do this through that through the you don't there's directly you don't need you there well the information you pick up changes through learning and how you use that information to calibrate with your actions, but Gibson's point, like sitability is not, you don't have to learn that I can sit on this by doing it in the same.
I don't know that that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, you do. What?
What?
So
Well, I think we
I
talked about
think
that earlier, right? The affordance is not the thing that you learn. Like if you take sit on
Well, Rob
ability,
is talking.
something
I think
really
Rob was
simple as
talking about
like
the information detection. That is what you learn. You learn to like do what's required to
You learn to
like.
pick
yeah,
up the information.
Yeah, and
learn
Wilson's
the
just
variables
like.
that stipulate
And
the
Wilson's like,
affordance.
oh
Yeah.
no, I think you do learn how to sit. Like, I think you learn sitability.
Well,
That's
I
what it
think
sounds like.
Well,
I learn what things I can
I think
sit
there might
on.
be like
I don't.
think maybe I don't know if you guys had that experience, but when I was really young, I remember that I did not know how to sit Indian style, uh, with your
Oh,
legs
yeah.
crossed.
Mm.
But that's not learning it ability. It's just the variables on how I can put my legs so that I can sit in a certain way. There's kind of a, like he just said, a bit of a fuzzy aspect to it because it gets a bit confusing with something as simple as sitting, in the sense that a chair, I can sit on it. There's different ways you can sit on it, and you can learn that. Oh well, this chair doesn't like a bar stool. You're not gonna sit Indian style on the bar stool, uh, but that's like what the variables of the bar stools does it afford sitting that way. I guess that might be a way to
It constrains your
clarify.
Mm.
It constrains
Yeah, I
the way you
mean,
sit.
yeah, if there's
So
a
you can't sit.
if there's a chair that's half broken and it looks like if I sit on it, it'll break, I I feel like I've learned
You might not
that. Like I probably learned that from something,
like
right?
a three-legged chair, right? It's not gonna be really stable.
Maybe
But
you see
that's
it tilting
Wow.
or something.
Yeah.
there's still the
it's like, would that even afford stability? Because Rob,
Well, for example, you know how heavy you are. You can see it shaking, so you know it's not sturdy enough.
right? Rob was
Right.
saying how you wouldn't offer
but here
somebody like an
we're
unstable surface to sit on. You know, it's like,
But I'm assuming a kid would be able to sit on a three-legged chair. I used to sit on one of those, I think.
I mean,
well, if it
three-legged
moves a
chair will
lot, it's
still.
probably gonna just fall over.
Yeah,
But here,
you
I
have to
think
sit on the
some
we're all
stability
talking
right
about
leg.
what are
leg.
the variables of the chair, right? What are the so it's not. I think that goes with what we were talking and what they were saying a little bit earlier. That's it. Then what was G was saying that it's the variables that stipulate the affordance. Here we're talking about, oh, how many leg that has the chair? Is the chair broken? Is the material such that it can break? Is it made of like flimsy aluminum? So if a 400-pound person sits on it, it's gonna crumble. We're not talking about
Maybe we
its
should let.
ability. We're talking about the variables. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
they're
we
gonna
should.
go deeper into it.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really let Wilson make his point, so maybe
I
maybe
don't know that
he's.
that's true.
Okay.
So I think you probably have to learn suitability, right? In fact that's definitely true. So there's a classic thing where little kids go through a phase where you give them a toy chair and they'll try and sit in it, right? Like there's all kinds of weird eras and things like that around.
Mostly
So
squat. Like some
yeah, I think
yeah.
so. You don't right. What you're learning,
Yeah, that's the
is
the-
not.
yeah.
You're not creating the affordance.
Yeah, that's
what
what
you're learning is how to couple your dynamics to the affordance dynamics via information.
Yeah.
So you're learning.
Okay.
how to learn
Okay.
A perception
Yeah.
action coupling, and so you have to go. You do have to learn that some information as it flows through the system will enable you to move in certain ways that complement the affordance, and then you have to spend some time putting that together, right? Like, and then you get better and better at being able to put it together. Think about learning a kick in football, right?
Okay.
Like you have so I think you have to learn how to effect the affordance. But what you're doing is you're not creating the affordance. You're
I
learning.
guess you have to learn how to perceive the affordance. You don't learn by association.
Not by association.
You have to learn to tune yourself into the environment.
You have to learn how to use it.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, Andrew Wilson
learn
said
how to
what
tune
G was
yourself into
saying about
Okay.
how you're not learning by association.
It and pick it up. Yeah.
But again, you're not picking up the lower order pieces and associating them together into the higher order thing. It's not a psychological process of getting to the affordance. The affordance is like the work of taking the lower order elements and putting them together into a higher order structure that can be picked up as a unit. That work has been done by the environment.
Yeah, I guess. Sorry, go ahead, Mary. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. I was very lucky to be able to speak to Harry Heft last week.
Oh, cool.
And what an amazing man. I need to go back and have a part two. But what did he use? He talked about the fact that it's in most theories or not non-direct perception theories, they think that we have to enrich what we see.
Yeah.
But actually what we do is become much better at detecting.
Yes.
That's what change.
So the learning is to detect the affordance that's there.
Yeah.
Example again, like
differentiation versus enrichment. That's the Gibson.
Thank you.
Imagine you have a hot.
It's like word for word what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we like G and I said these exact things word for word.
Bro, G pre-watched it, bro.
You don't learn the affordance for burning that I could burn myself by touching it, getting burnt, and associating that experience with what you see. Gibson's point is that what you see actually tells you that it's hot directly, and that it can burn you direct. You don't actually have to do it before you can perceive it.
Right.
With
Things
the
like-
fire, it's probably
you
closer
have
to
learn a bunch
feeling.
of other things, like, but there's the information directly
So,
from that.
what did you say?
So with
It's like
fire,
a-
you probably you perceive that it's hot. You feel it more like, because I'm not sure how you know from like a
Well,
distance that it's hot.
It's like a hot surface. You know, it's
if
like
it's
a
a
hot
very big
surface.
fire, you're gonna feel it from pretty far away.
It's like you don't need to put your
Yeah,
hand.
But
yeah.
I mean, you're
But like I'm talking about like a oven, or something like that. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are you
I
drawing
guess
some sort of distinction between that feeling and like other
No,
actions?
no. Obviously, they're all like
Okay.
one thing, but you wouldn't be able to see
Okay.
that it's hot. I don't think so.
I think couldn't you sort of learn it through seeing what it does to other people?
It's like think about how like the feeling of the fire, like when you're near the fire, it's kind of like your body heats up, and it's like, well, if I touch that, like it's gonna be much hotter than me just standing near the fire.
My interrogation was more on like, is there a distinction between being made? Because it's like a different form of information detection, right? But it serves the same purpose as like sight or hearing or like touch. Like those are all have the similar purpose of
unitary, yeah.
detecting information.
Yeah, it's unitary.
A thing that gives it meaning. It can burn you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So the learning, yeah, what you're learning is not how to construct the meaning of the thing. That's the other thing. This is the key distinction, right? So to go back to what Marianne was just saying, there's the classic, what is it, 1955 EJ and JJ Gibson paper. It's the only, I think it's their only joint paper, and it's differentiation versus enrichment.
It's not their only
Yeah.
paper. They made a bunch of papers together.
Enrichment
Oh damn. He got it wrong.
damn
is
it.
the idea that learning has to
They did.
add information to the basics of sensation in order to produce experience. Differentiation is the understanding that you have to become better attuned to the information that's meaningful, that's already about meaningful things.
Yeah, but there's very possible you might.
What were you saying?
It kind of
Hmm.
it reminds me of you wrote it at some point, but I think you had a conversation too with pessimistic idealistic, or you were there. Maybe you can like jump on that. That knowledge is the way to like think of it, or what it is like the how of an organism, right? And in that aspect, what they're talking about, like the knowledge where you're detecting, it changes how you act and how you interact. It's not like some brain idea or something like that. It's literally you changing the systems, this system in its entirety, organizing itself differently to better use the variables. Like that's what knowledge is. It's not just like this thing stored in your brain. Maybe I would.
Yeah, because I mean, there's
Yeah, no.
there's like requirements of knowledge. I think is what
Yeah,
was said in that conversation, and it's like the requirements of knowledge are not like more or less real than like whatever you're trying to learn is.
yeah. I don't know.
I'm assuming that's
I'm
what
not
you
sure
mean.
how. Well, what I mean is really like just like because that like statement that you made, like knowledge is how you are, right? It's not like stored information or something like that. It's way more ontological, if you want to say it. It's more part of what an entity, an organism is, the entire system. And I think it kind of clarifies, at least to me, this whole view of you're detecting information, and this knowledge is how you interact with it, right? It's embodied, I guess I could say,
It
rather
becomes
than
part of you.
it. Yeah,
Knowledge
it's
becomes
like
part
literally
becomes part.
how you are, and so this detection of information rather than it being assembled in the brain. I think with that conception of knowledge, it kind of makes it clearer even to understand what's actually going on, what's the natural system.
Yeah, I mean, I
We
agree.
can keep going.
I don't know the reference to the conversation with pessimistic though. I don't remember.
Oh, it's just because there was a context where
Well,
he
G's
talked about
back,
it.
so you can ask him, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have any question. I was just making a link.
Well, like you
Okay.
can like reference the conversation that he had with pessimistic, and he might remember like more clearly than I do.
Oh, I was just because in the video, G, they're talking about detection of information rather than assembly, like we were talking about earlier. And I just made a link with like better understand it and how you say. I think you said it in the conversation on truth and knowledge with pessimistic idealist that knowledge really is the how an organism is. It's like part of its own organization, and the more you learn, you change that organization. That's kind of how that knowledge is.
It's the form of the
Yeah.
it's the form of its existence. It's the form of I forget what Harvalato says. It says knowledge is the form of the existence of the organism environment system. I got that from Harvalato. That's it. If somebody can link Harvalato's paper, I'm driving now.
Oh my god. I don't know if I have a lot of Harvard papers, so
There's that
Which
one
one?
that's it's like 1998 to 2000.
how do I spell
I
his name?
definitely don't know it.
The 4 papers in one.
Yeah, that one. The
Yeah.
theory of the organism environment system papers.
Oh yeah, Book's got all
Which
the
one is it? The
papers,
first
bro.
one?
The other papers got.
It's like you can open it and you can control F for form of an existence, form of the existence. I forget exactly how he words it. I don't know why.
Drop it in VC text while you're driving.
I can't do
Yeah,
it.
switch it up.
I'll just put all 4 of them.
Just take your hands off the wheel, dude. Relax.
Yeah.
I have the all 4 in one.
Man, just let Jesus take the wheel.
You should
Yeah,
be able to find it in the chat. Like you guys don't have it saved. I've linked it a lot.
Bro, I don't
I
save
put
your
in all on
collections.
VC
Oh, there. Yeah, Book's put it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't save
It's not
your
in the first one.
collections to my. I need to save your collection.
It's in the. Oh no, there's still the
Description of
first
the
one.
theory. Yeah.
People know how Gibson used to drive his car.
How did Gibson drive?
Wow.
Used to what?
He would have someone else while sitting in the passenger seat talk to them, and when the passenger got too scared, he would detect their information and swerve or something. Yeah. He'd drive basically
Nice.
with stuff the other guy's face.
What the fuck?
Nice try.
Finally unlocked second person driving.
Yeah, nice. Good try, but
I don't know what they say. I don't know.
The educated attention to the information.
Oh yeah, are you watching the video, G, or?
Well, I have to have like my maps on. Can you hear?
I searched form in all 4 papers and I didn't
Yeah, like,
find
are you
anything.
able to listen to it?
What do you mean, bro? I mean, don't like. If you not have the 1998 to 2000 paper, like the collection of papers. Okay, here's a red light. I'll just.
no, don't die. Don't do it, G.
He's on a red light.
It's not. Yeah, it's not safe. Nope.
Look, Mama, I'm linking papers.
Oh, guys, it'll be our fault.
Oh, it's just the PDF
Yeah.
doesn't. Okay, it doesn't appear as text, so I can't search Control F. That's why it's not finding anything.
Yeah. That's why I had to put them all in one page. I had to get a new OCR and then I put them all.
All right. Well, it's not that important for now.
Okay, VC
Really
text.
not for you to crash your car.
I put it in VC text. Yeah, no, but I got that from Harvalato and he elaborates on that. Like along the lines that I was getting at. With pessimistic.
Hmm.
All right, form of. Oops.
Oh, I was never gonna be able to.
Yeah,
type in that
you see
name.
how he like where he talks about, you know, reorganization and organization of the system.
Yarv.
All about that stuff.
I guess as the quote be, as to the concepts of learning and knowledge, this means that they are not based on transmission of information from the environment into the organism. There is only one system. Thus, all increase of knowledge means only the reorganization or widening of this system. Knowledge may be defined as the form of existence because it is impossible to have any living system without knowledge. This means also that knowledge must be knowledge must be created. It cannot be transmitted or moved from one head to another. I guess here means that it needs to be created. Might mean something else.
Yeah. All right, let's keep playing the video. I'm assuming G is listening.
I'm not listening to the video, but that's fine. I think
You pre-watched it. We concluded that.
a little bit.
Oh
I
yeah,
watched a
you
little bit.
pre-watched. Yeah, you watched the whole video. We forgot. Yeah.
No,
we concluded
only
you watched
like
it.
20, only like 25 minutes, really.
No,
Say that
no,
because
no.
you said something earlier that was one-to-one something Wilson said, like the same
Yeah, it
sentence.
was exactly the same.
He watched it till 25 minutes in.
Oh yeah.
I just like I can't right now because I'm driving and I'm about to go into the store. I'm gonna have to leave again. I couldn't find my earphones. I would have brought my earphones.
You have to learn that, which is
You know, I've been running around like crazy.
It says just a detection. It's like tuning a radio station to a different channel, right? It's not any kind of computation enrichment process. It's just picking up different information. But it was always there for you to get. That's good because it's in the environment.
And this is why Gibson's metaphor for what the brain is doing is resonance, not representation. Yeah. So what you're learning is you're
Resonance. I've never heard that before. I didn't know Gibson said that. Resonance.
Yeah, I think it.
you're
Well, I
learning
don't have much to add on. I think some other thinkers still today kind of take that idea, but I don't think I have a good understanding of what they even mean by that. So
resonate.
It's like it's more or less like opening up to environmental structure. Thing.
You're learning to resonate to information.
You're more or less opening up. You know, you can more or less open up. Like it's like
like wavelength. You're getting on the right wavelength to it.
there's a lot of things that go into this. Like I can go into it later. I need to focus right now. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean Wilson was talking about it, how it's like it's resonation rather than representation.
He needs to resonate with the driving, everything that needs to go on with driving right now. So he doesn't crash his car and die.
Yeah.
That's what you drink before. It makes you more open to them.
Don't run out of fuel, G. Yeah, you gotta resonate with the information to not run out of fuel.
Yeah.
Remember the first rule of driving, have fun.
It's like we selectively open up ourselves, you know, to like picking up information. You know? Like open up, right more. That's what resonance really means. And there's like a lot of physics stuff that goes into that too.
Also, it's kind of difficult to understand you because you're a big garbles.
If you look in the intelligence from first principles paper.
Oh, that one. I can send that one onto the chat. If
you look at the first intelligence from first principles paper where they talk about I forget it was like dynamic boundaries or something, dynamic barriers.
Is that the one that like talks about like the black hole being intelligent?
Oh,
damn, my fault.
That's the one on hints on intelligence. That's the one from Shaw.
Okay, okay, yes, okay, I see. This is different.
To enable the coupling, right?
Yeah, like the effectivity part, I think Gibson's like there's
Yeah,
a tendency
where
to
it says
add
dynamic
when you
boundaries
talk
and
about-
dynamic barriers or something like that. That's what they talk about. And there's also a paper in the collection of Turvey's papers. If you see like the one on reaction time or whatever, they build on something that Harvey said, Harvey paper, and that reaction time paper, Turvey and Carello. It's like a 2012 paper, I think. So yeah. Well, the intelligence from first principles paper is also from Carello and Turvey. So those two papers like talk about this thing, you know. But yeah, look, as if somebody can link the reaction time paper.
The reaction.
Is it
It's
called
a,
the surprising nature of the reaction time?
yes. The nature of the reaction time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, link that one.
Yeah, send it there.
You know, I to know whether this table is sit on for me. There must be some. I must compare the visual information to some store. I have
Right.
my internal model. I
Yeah.
have about
So it's building on something that Harvey said about like, you know, receptors like being like just like holes, you know, like how they evolved, you know, just like holes, like a discontinuity in the sort of like flow, right, of the environment, right? There's just like a persistent discontinuity, and you could sort of like place your hole at unique spots in the ambient energy array. You know? Like Harvey really goes into this with like a whole like analogy and everything. Like it's pretty cool. So there's a lot that goes into it. I think it's pretty cool. And I even connected to like, you know, Turvey's like multifractal tensegrity medium thing, right? Because there's a paper talking about how all perceptual systems, all the senses, you know, they all engage, you know, they all something with the multifractal tensegrity.
I need to grab a
So I think
drink.
it's
I'll be right back. I guess we'll keep playing the video, and I'll just grab a drink real quick.
So Gibson's point is though that's in the perceptive information too.
Yes.
Incorporate what is it? Extra perception and proprioception at the same time.
Yes. So yeah. So at the there is simultaneously available in the optic array information about the environment and about yourself.
Yeah. Right.
And
as we move, we're also creating and detecting information about ourselves.
Yes, and that information is across the modalities, obviously, and that's where you get to calibration, right? So you've got different sources of information calibrating the perception of each other.
Yeah.
So the information about how long my arm is calibrates my visual perception of how far away my computer is, for example. Once I've started to reach for it and interact with it, again, you have to do a little tuning up, right? There's always a little tuning up that you have to do, which is good because it means that you can tune up to any environment. And it means you're not, just because you tuned up to something previously doesn't mean that's the tuning you're stuck on forever, right? That tuning, the calibration drifts. And it's really important that it does.
That is such an important thing, and it's one that I remember finding difficult to think about. If there is a program, how does that program able to, like you say, retune all the time? Because we might be tired, we are getting older. Things, you know, like those things change all the time. We might have an injury, we might move, go to a different place. You know, most animals have quite a good degree of flexibility. They evolved to occupy a particular niche, but they are able to. Well, most are able to adapt. And he does then talk about actually how badly.
Okay, I have to go, guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
I am. All right.
Enjoy the story one.
Other animals.
It's a great quote. I love it. Yeah.
I know he's a little bit eco warrior in there in the 70s.
Yes, for sure.
It wasn't just Capra, but for me, that I think that's so important, because that's something that I struggled with the representation idea.
Yes.
Because I've got something that's too fixed then, really, to be able to be as flexible as it has to be.
Yes.
Because every moment that coupling is different. No man stands in the same river twice, or he's not the same.
Yeah. I think that's really important. We're hammering at it, but I think that it's all in the information. Right? That's Gibson. Everything has to be right.
Yeah.
Doesn't have, we don't have to supplement it with a internal model of our body or anything else. Right? It's we don't need it. It's in the information. It's always
Yeah.
there.
And that's an efficient way to control stuff, right? So
Yeah.
Rodney Brooks' robots is, the whole philosophy of all that robotics, the subsumption architecture and all that stuff, is that the world is its own best model, right? So why is it its own best model? Why? Because it's always complete, it's always accurate, it's always up to date.
Yeah.
So all you do is sample and measure the world on a regular basis, and as opposed to constructing a representation that you then also have to maintain and keep. So you have to have processes to sample that model in order to control your behavior, but you also have to have processes that are right. And so Gibson effectively is just saying at this point, right, all you need, the world is its own best model. And the environment and the organism are their own best model.
I think that
That's kind of what it means to be embodied.
kind of a
actually.
good short point against computationalism that he just made. That's like, yeah, you would have to make the computation twice. You need to have the representation and always attune at that representation, and then you have to attune yourself to that representation. So like you would have,
he's just saying it's an infinite
even under the
regress.
computational model.
Be very hard to learn.
Yeah, I guess well, it would be that too. I just mean that like in terms of like how much computation would be required, even if it was possible. You would not only is there like the problem of you need to infer a cause from the effect, which is kind of impossible. But as he's kind of describing it, yeah, you would have to do it twice.
It would
You would
require
have to do it for the
omnipotence.
representation to be always adjusted. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Body cognition kind of fundamentally means is that it's not just your body, but it's all the ease, right? That you're embedded and that you're acting and all these kinds of things. But like that's where it all comes from, and it's all of those things, all of that activity of an organism in an environment creates the information and makes accessible the information that if you then sample on a regular enough basis, then you come to know your environment and be able to act in it. Right?
There's maybe a slight, hopefully not much of a segue. I'm just thinking back to the conversations that I've had with James Stafford in the past around calibration and how many humans as they get older stop that sampling and they end up with calibration maybe to like road crossing and traffic that is no longer accurate because they've shrunk the sampling, the activities that they're doing essentially.
Then it goes through a bunch of different affordances. I know I want to highlight because of Andrew's work launching of missiles.
Yes.
Flavors that makes the human animal a nasty, dangerous species. Like Andrew's throwing work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, throwing's wild actually because nothing else does it.
No.
Right?
We can.
Well, but nothing does it like a human.
No, not like that. I'm sorry, I'm being facetious.
No. So octopuses will.
I've seen a gorilla like. I've seen a gorilla throw like a capybara at a kid. It's pretty fucking accurate.
Monkeys throw shit at tourists.
Oh, literally.
Yeah.
Throw some poop, and elephants will occasionally pick stuff up, and nothing throws
his toys.
But it's a wild thing to do, right? Like it changes the affordances of your. It opens up a vista of affordances beyond reach and grasp space, right? You then have to learn how to interact with because they're all the way over there.
And that actually is a good example of an affordance that we were talking about earlier, like the first people to get on a horse, where there is this change in a niche.
Yep. Well, that's it. And there is also just. I mean, it's important to remember that people explore, right? So one of the things you do, when you are skilled. So one of the things that we do is not just skilled performance, but skilled exploration of our environment, looking for opportunities to act, right? So think about when you're trying to, I don't know, you're trying to find a spot from which you can successfully throw the ball to your friend, right? Or you're trying to find a spot where you can get it over the river or whatever, something that's complicated. You have to spend time exploring that landscape of affordances and then get yourself in the position where you, in particular, can affect that affordance.
I think this is such an important point for skill acquisition and the difference, the big, for me, the really, really big contribution that an ecological approach has given to skill acquisition, because it's about exploring the potential field of affordances rather than rehearsing a solution that you might then put into an environment or slot into an environment. That is very different. And then you move away from the like I used to send people this great video outtakes of Danny McCaskill, and he's mountain biking. If people are listening, go and Google him. He's amazing, and he shows you videos, outtakes of him trying a trick like 200 times before he nails it. So he hasn't learned to do it wrong. He has taken him 200 to able to explore and connect and calibrate to that field of affordances. And that really changes then how you look at skill acquisition, errors,
and just learning in general, I would assume.
that education of intention, attention, and calibration.
I have a similar one that I have an image from Mountain Dew I always like to use. It's a skateboarder landing this trick, and all been embedded in it are all the times he fell getting there.
And they impose them all. That's a brilliant one as well.
Exploration of the environment, like that's what I say too. Like learning that when I do this, this happens in the world. It's this thing. It's incredibly important for everything.
Absolutely.
Even if it's something completely you don't want to do, that's information. That's learning. That's what kids are machines at doing that. They do that.
I know, right?
Every second of their life when they're growing, they're learning. This happens, I do that. Right? This I do that. This happens in the world.
Yeah, right from the babies. Who was it that did? Was it last year or the year before? The bit of research where they tied some mobile that made a noise and moved to a baby's hands.
Oh, they've done that. Yeah, they've done that a bunch of times. That's an old school.
Right from the beginning, the babies, the tiny pre-verbal babies, unable to walk.
They learn. Yeah, so they learn they learn to jiggle their legs at resonance, right? So they learn to jiggle at the resonant frequency of the mobile to get maximum bang for buck out of it, right? And there's the baby bouncer studies. And what they do is they bounce and they explore. And
isn't this learning by association?
Phase relationship between.
What? No. What would it be?
Seems like it is. The baby learns that. Baby learns that the toy does something when it moves its feet. No.
Well, because I think it's one of those like I don't know the term. They hang over the bed, but I think they're fixated to the bed. It's more like when the baby moves, it like shakes the whole bed, and it's gonna move these things. Or maybe it's, I don't know the experiment exactly. But it wouldn't be. I don't know why it would be any different from anything that we've said before that isn't association.
I just don't
right? No matter like how.
I mean, we could go back.
No.
We'll
figure it out.
Sure, you don't want to learn Zetetic?
I'll figure it out later.
Even if it's like non-obvious. Even if something is like the particular variables that would make you say like it's not associated, it's action. Even if they're very non-obvious, that doesn't mean it suddenly changed what it is, right? Very non-obvious things are still the way it happens, right? That doesn't mean that the information is now somehow lacking. That it needs to be I forgot the word. Associated. That needs to be associated suddenly.
Okay, fine. So it's not okay. It's not that that the information is meaningless and they're putting it together. Correct? Yeah, I just don't understand what learning by association means. It's the information is already meaningful, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a probabilistic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah, what they do is they bounce and they explore and they learn that there's a particular phase relationship between the kick and the motion of the baby bouncer that gives you that drives you at resonance where you get maximum return for the minimum effort.
Oh, one of
And
those jumpers
kids tune
things.
into
Oh,
that
okay.
real quick.
Mind blowing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Learn swing set. You learn when
Yeah, absolutely.
when to push to get
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then it gets into social kind of things. Famous quote: "Behavior affords behavior." Like,
Yeah.
as we interact with the world, we create affordances for other people. More.
So let me just step back for a second. Right. So in this section, so again, he's given us.
What are you
He
watching?
keeps citing his definition.
Oh, we're watching Rob Gray and Andrew Wilson, and I can't say this lady's name because it's blocking.
The woman goes last, eh?
Mari. Well, I couldn't see her name
He's
because
in the
it's
middle
freaking
of the
subtitle.
screen.
Marianne Davy.
Marianne Davies. Yes, we're watching all three of them talk about chapter 8 of Gibson's book.
Gibson's book.
Affordances.
I think Eddie's wrong because he just assumed their genders.
Oh,
It looks like a duck. I mean, she looks more like other women than she looks like the trans people I've seen, so she's a woman.
Sure.
Actually, his definition of.
I mean, we gotta
affordances
apply
isn't
like the objectivist theory of concept formation to trans people, right?
Right.
It's the way we're gonna solve this issue.
Because
You're just concealing your bigotry with logic.
Of just laying out
Yes.
examples of things that are examples of what he's talking about when he talks about affordances, and he's kind of doing that because he recognizes a little bit, I think, the inadequacy of just trying to nail it down to a single definition. Because again, it's a fuzzy boundary. But yeah, so he spends a large chunk of the chapter
Steps are not the definitions.
just providing concrete examples of things that would count as affordances, and so it's kind of and in exactly the same way he has provided lots of lists of examples in the past, and it's quite an interesting way of arguing, right?
Very
Like, he's not
objectivist way.
provided the definition from which you can go and generate things. He's provided the definition to orient you. It's almost the definition is a constraint, but it hasn't nailed you down.
Yeah.
And then the examples are him guiding an exploration through that constrained space, right? But at no point do you ever just get the single answer, because he's recognizing that actually it's all a little bit more complicated than that. And he was still working on the vocabulary, and the vocabulary's tightened up over the years as we've gotten better at talking about it. But one of the reasons why we still argue, I think, about affordances is because of this is the original exposition still has quite a lot of room to maneuver in it.
Yeah.
I think it has less room to maneuver in it than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
We all tend to read this chapter and go, "Yes, Gibson agrees with me," and so
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he agrees with me, actually. But and I'm pretty sure that I can probably prove that. But I know that I can't talk.
Someone else. Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. Yeah.
But anyway, he's so all the examples we've been talking about are things that he's literally just listing because he thinks that they're the kinds of things that might count. They're the kinds of things he thinks might count as affordances.
Yeah.
Then it's an empirical question as to whether or not.
Which is a ridiculously long and rich list, right? It's a big.
Yeah.
That's why he's having trouble. Like with exactly defining it, because it's a huge. All the things he's counting as affordances.
He's teaching by example.
Like, yeah, I mean, like G said, he was appealing to like the academic terms or whatever.
Also, Edward Baggs has a very good paper that just collects all the examples of affordances and just categorizes them. It's very interesting. Like negative affordances, positive affordances.
Negative affordances.
Yeah, well, negative
I'm assuming
affordances
that's
like you perceive that you might fall off or something. I'll fall off a
Yeah.
cliff.
Oh, okay, like negative in the sense of almost in a moral sense. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like an evaluative sense.
Yeah. Well, that's what you perceive. Your perceived meaning.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that when you talk about other persons and animals and this behavior, forced behavior, one of the things I've been thinking about recently with work and working with coaches as a coach developer, you could look at somebody, and it's the same as coaching. If you look at an athlete or participant, you can see all these things happening. And I definitely moved away from all of those. I've got this big long list and I just need to see which is the first thing. I'm like, see, what is it that's holding that there? Where they're trying to, again, this building, but what's holding that person, that system as it is? And if once I change that, I'm then going to resample, because I completely change the affordance landscape.
Yes.
Individual, or they would if they made some changes. And that has quite big implications, I think, for the expectations of the type of work that we do as well, because it's a bit, and then it's like, okay, now we've got to reassess. Because if you do something different or change constraints in your work or things like that, now we've got loads of those other things that I noticed might just all go away, or a whole load of other things might appear.
Yes, and you've got to give all those things time to disappear or to throw out, because it does take time, right? The self-organization under the new constraints takes time, or self-reorganization. Yeah.
So I think in sports where there's that, I think one of the things that's, well, it is talked about a lot more now, is the level of complexity and relatedness of other persons and what's going on in sport. That I think for me, that's what I was thinking about when I was reading this. Yeah,
it's a good, like when he's talking about negative and positive, his kind of note that all these benefits and injuries, these safeties and dangers, these positive and negative affordances are properties of things taken with reference to observer, but not properties of the experiences of the observer.
Yes.
They're not subjective values. They're not feelings or pleasure or pain added to neutral perceptions.
Yeah.
Perceptions themselves have value, meaning. That's the big thing, right? The whole.
Well, he's setting up why the Gestalt approach, right? Because then he gets into a recent history of sort of the origins of this notion and talks about the Gestalt stuff. And the reason why the Gestalt fails is that they, as you noted earlier, Rob, they fail to give up the dualism, and they preserve. There's the thing itself, and then there's the phenomenal experience of the thing. And the phenomenal experience is the thing that has all the value and meaning, but that effectively is just another word for representation, or another word to describe the thing that representation describes, right? And it's the dualism that Gibson wants to get rid of.
What do you think made Gibson take this leap that other people didn't?
Basically,
interesting that
the Gestaltists they were taking a phenomenological approach to perception, and the phenomenology literally takes it, because they accept Kant's distinction, and they say we can't know the noumena, so who cares about the noumena anymore? Let's study the phenomena. Let's just study what
experience.
Let's study experience, right? So
Yeah.
that they're still operating on that dualism, basically. Like Husserl, who started phenomenology, saw himself as, he just accepted Descartes. It's the same thing. He accepted Descartes' thing and said, "Oh, true, we can't know the world, so let's just study experience." Basically,
I've read one
as the end of. Yeah.
I read one book on phenomenology. Is it even worth, like, is there anything good from it?
Gibson is very phenomenological. Just he says that what we see is that like affordances is essentially a phenomenological concept, just in realist terms, I suppose you would say.
Gibson took what was good from phenomenology.
Specifically,
he left the rest to die.
I'll put his. I'll put the guy who says very similar things to Gibson. Give me a second.
I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, where there are like some of those Jews who just like they put it on one side of the dualism, kind of ignoring the other, and we can come around and be like, well, the dualism's kind of retarded to begin with, so how about we don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh, what's up?
This
I don't know if it's the time, obviously the Gestalts were a very different time period. I don't know. It's such a
So the idea of something like affordance was clearly in the zeitgeist, right? Because of the Gestaltist, and some of them ended up at Cornell, so he was interacting with
Kurt Kafka.
some of them. I can't remember which. Kafka, I think, was one of them that ended up at Cornell.
Here,
So I think he was
Mr.
being
Know-It-All.
influenced by the idea that there was. So for the Gestaltists, their idea was that there was part of experience that contains the meaning, that you had. There was a directness of access to that meaning. And I think all Gibson did was, well, all he did, but the move he made was to cut out the middleman because he recognized that the middleman constituted a dualism. But you're right. I don't know why he ended up.
Yeah.
I do still think that the work that Eleanor Gibson was doing would have been really influential because she was working with a lot of other animals as well and looking at movement, how movement. I mean, the visual cliff stuff that she did with all the baby animals. They didn't use the word affordances then, but that's so key. And
What's up? You want to say something?
I was just I was gonna mention that Eliana was the one who kind of first came up with the visual cliff experiments, which are kind of like they're used in the introductory book. They seem to be like a very frequent example in the entire approach.
In entire like in introduction to psychology books, they have visual cliff stuff. Like
I
development.
wonder how they. I guess they probably
I'm
use
sure
it in
it's like
different terms.
Yeah, probably. I'll try to find. I have an introduction book somewhere here.
I think from this behavior, Ford's
Where's
behavior angle, that's really important because it was perception through moving a body intentionally.
Yeah.
That was really key. And I think those other things around him would have, he was connecting with her work.
Connected with more than her work.
Previous episodes that we're talking about this is not something you thought of overnight.
What does that mean? Eddie, what does that mean, bro?
Yeah, what's that mean?
It's his wife. What do you mean? What does that mean?
More than just words.
Hey, he connected with more than her words. What do we... It's pretty self-evident what that means. They were married, for God's sake. You think they didn't connect in other ways?
Well, like playing bridge together?
Building a train.
Yeah, building
What are
a
we
model
talking
train.
about? Yeah, train. Like he just went on the rail into her. You know that he took the train.
Did they lay pipe together?
Yeah.
I don't know if plumbing is usually something that people take to a lot. I've never heard any autistic plumbers.
No.
Bro, y'all better hope when I post this online, fucking these guys don't watch this.
Yeah.
Years of work in the trenches and experiments that got him to this point. So
Because there's quite I think you're right. I think there's quite a few threads that add up to affordances.
Yeah.
So there's EJ stuff, there's the Gestalt stuff, there's the fundamental notion of rejecting dualisms.
Wait, what was the first thing you said?
There's
It's not like he
Can you
said
go
a
back?
few
Sorry.
threads.
Yeah, but the first thing, and then he said like Gestalt stuff, and then
It
he
wasn't
said,
an activism, was it? Yeah, I didn't really pick it up.
No,
either.
an activism is later.
Because there's quite a I think you're right. I think there's quite a few threads that add
Oh, threads. Bro, his accent.
up to affordances.
Yeah.
So there's EJ stuff, there's the Gestalt stuff, there's
Hey,
the
go back. Do it one more time.
Yeah, I think it's the EJ stuff. It's probably the Eleanor
Three times
Gibson
down.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Years of work in the trenches and experiments that got him to this point. So
Because there's quite a I think you're right. I think there's quite a few threads that add up to affordances.
Yeah.
So there's EJ stuff,
EJ,
there's the Gestalt stuff,
EJ
there's
stuff,
the
yeah.
fundamental notion of rejecting dualisms. It is of course right. So again, the theory of affordances is chapter 8. Why? Because he had some stuff to do before he got to them. So he had to tell us about environments and surfaces and the medium and substances. And so, of course, he starts asking questions: what can you build out of substances and surfaces? And he starts identifying that you like like an abstract plane versus a surface. An abstract plane describes the size and orientation of the table surface, but when you talk about it as a surface in an environment, it has this quality, this sit-on ability, this stand-on ability, this put things on ability. So I think maybe he just and also thinking about information, he'd become accustomed to thinking of higher order invariant features. The idea that you could take something that the higher order invariant was a thing in and of itself that you could pick up as a piece. So he was thinking that, like, again, nobody in psychology was really thinking that way. Everything was very sensation based and elemental, and you had to pick up the pieces and assemble them in here. Gibson was already comfortable with the idea of the environment doing some of that assembling in information, right? That's the 66 book. So maybe he was just, when he finally sat down and started thinking about what could you build out of surfaces, he started to realize that you could build meaningful objects.
Yeah. I thought the misinformation, that's where it gets in the worst, quite right. Talking about the situations where the information lies, his example with the work with Eleanor, the visual cliff is the famous.
Yeah.
Right? If people don't know, visual cliff is basically a surface where over a hole that's you specify very clearly visually. There's like checkerboard pattern. So
you really clearly see.
Normally you would fall off the cliff down the hole, but what they do is they put a sheet of, plexiglass or whatever, something clear over the top, and basically they test. Eleanor spent a lot of time testing when and will babies walk over because it affords going across,
yes,
falling across. When do they learn that? How do they learn that? So as a really, but essentially
it makes me think.
If misinformation.
Have you guys been, with those really tall towers or these like glass bridges, where there's like this fear when you're gonna walk over it? I know it does that to me. I feel extremely uneasy walking on that glass, but it's like I know I'm not gonna fall. I wonder if there's something with that where maybe it's like not being attuned to the walk-on ability of such a glass surface, even as an adult. Where even if you know, like the glass is not gonna break.
I mean, there's probably something to be said about like irrational fears of heights. You know what I mean? Where it's like
or
some
just
people are just like
bungee
afraid
jumping.
of heights.
I mean, even if I guess if it's irrational, there's still a reason for it. It'd be with the knowledge. I guess fear is a.
Yeah, because like there is actually a very huge distance down below you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I mean,
but
it's
you know
just
you
like the
can't.
surface
You're not gonna
walking
fall
on is
through it.
totally safe. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah,
I
like
assume
your
if you walk on
emotion,
it-
and like your reason, like your emotions sometimes lag a little bit behind your reason. It takes time for your reason to, emotions to adapt to what you have consciously known, and also like you have to, I guess, act in that case, like actually act in the environment for some time until you get used to the fact that it doesn't hurt you working there.
I'm assuming if you walk on it every day for to go to work, it's not gonna scare you anymore because you just learned that this is not.
I'm sure
Like
even in like a single day, you spend like an hour walking over it.
Well, that's
You're
why some
gonna
people
like
get rid of their fears
understand.
by
But I want.
exposing themselves to that fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna swallow a tarantula and gonna be completely rid of my fear of spiders.
It's actually, I
Right.
mean, like one thing that could be useful is like VR to get rid of phobias. Like if you have a phobia of snakes,
Oh yeah.
you could use VR to safely get over that phobia.
That whole phantom touch thing is real. It is crazy. You expect to
Oh,
be
yeah?
touched, but you don't actually get touched. You get like that little tingling sensation there.
I'm too
VR?
used to VR now. I think I don't know how it would work. But
Not even in VR chat, just any VR game in which you get to control a body.
Oh
You
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
teammates or something next to you.
I mean, I can play video games and feel like ashamed. Like it's just It's kind of like, it's kind of like picking up a pencil. Like that pencil becomes part of your, the extension of your hand, right? Like if you have a character in a MMO, that can be an extension of you.
Yeah, I really feel the pain and suffering when I get killed by Milena in Elden Ring for the 100th time.
Fuck yeah, you do, don't you? Hell yeah. And then when you finally succeed.
All right.
Has picked up misperception results, right? So this is a case where so clear in our environment, we're talking about surfaces. Transparent surfaces don't typically afford. This is where it gets into a little talking about learning and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of a change here. This is where you're getting your fuzziness and like in our environment, transparent surfaces do not typically support us.
Yeah. One of the
typically sounds weird, but the way to say it.
But one of the interesting things about the natural environment is that on average things don't lie.
True.
Yeah.
Like in fact, the vast majority, like so.
And if you
I'm not sure what on average things online mean.
Well, I guess it's.
I think
think of
that's a figure of speech. I think is what he's trying to.
Maybe, but I
like
don't know.
the example that came to mind. The example that came to my mind is like birds and windows. There are no windows in the forest. Like for almost all the life of a bird, it's never going to engage with anything like a window.
Right.
And then it flies and it sees through this building. Oh, there's a hole there, and then it smacks its head and it's dead. Like it lies in the sense that it's something that it's never encountered anywhere, and that has the same structure as there being nothing. I think that's kind of
Even
what
people
means by
even people get confused by the glass. If you ever see like a glass building in construction, they have like tape over it.
Yeah.
It's because they don't want people to smash through it.
Yeah.
True. There
Or you walk into a door and you're like,
to someone.
Is the door a push or a pull? And you're like, fuck.
Yeah, I guess that could be a form of like misdirection. I was thinking also mirrors. I remember every time I have a cat, you get a little cat, and then you put it in front of a mirror for the first time, and it's like, oh shit,
Oh,
that's another
yeah.
cat, and then it gets all.
Yeah. If you watch, I think if you watch, it might be at the end of the video that I have on MP completeness, but G shows me like a video of a guy going through like those houses of mirrors in those like fun house things. Like you ever been into one of those where it's just like walls of mirrors and it's just like you have no idea where you're going. You're just like running into the fucking mirrors.
Full sprint, that's my strategy,
Yeah.
They are, you just have to move and you can generally pick it up.
Yeah,
Well,
well, right. So that's the first thing, is that the lie is sometimes an artifact of your point of view.
That's all illusions are, right?
But I mean, there are lies. So animals who camouflage themselves.
Oh, that's a good example too.
Trying to tell a lie, right? About
Mimicry.
what they are. And that works to varying degrees, and sometimes works pretty well. But a lot of effort has to go into looking like something other than what you are, right? You have to work very hard to do it. And this is Rinson's. He has this paper about the Ames room, which I think I've talked about before, and talks about the what's the word? The irrelevance of equivalent configurations, right? And the fact that just because you can build something that from one particular point of view does in fact resemble something, doesn't mean that this is a fundamental truth of the environment, right?
Yeah.
Because these equivalent configurations are extraordinarily difficult to make, and they will break much more easily because
Hello, niggers.
If two things are
Jesus Christ, bro.
What?
Freaking recording this, man.
Sometimes the point of observation will be when you are biting it, and you'll discover it is in fact a twig versus an insect that you want to eat. But there will be a point of observation where you can tell the difference because there's a hard limit on how much you can lie.
Yeah.
And so
you could walk around 360 and still see the illusion, right?
Yeah.
Right. You have to look through that.
True economically.
Privileged view, but he points out that maybe there's some affordances like that we have to learn that. I think he uses line here. the learning this was kind of very early in this.
Yeah, and the way that he and EJ divvied up the work, he wasn't talking about the learning within the lifespan of the organism. He was talking about evolutionary level learning. But I think you're right, Marianne, to go back repeatedly to EJ, because of course her whole thing was the learning that occurs within the lifespan of the individual organism. And I think there's a ton of learning that has to happen, right? We are not born knowing what the environment affords us. We come prepared with the toolkit to discriminate the information for the affordances in the environment we happen to find ourselves in,
and assemble ourselves to be information detectors.
Absolutely. So we come with that basic sort of capability, but you have to spend, like, we human beings spend a lot of time learning how to see and organize the environment.
We're not born with the ability to affect affordances. We have to learn that. Learn to couple our dynamics, like you say, and our movement system with this information. Yeah.
And this is even clearer.
It's quite important that that's the case.
It's even clearer with things like social affordances. Like, right, you have to learn how to navigate like fancy dinners if you need to, or like office spaces and whatever.
Right, and also like trading, right? Like trading is also an affordance.
Yeah, or every like different social types of social things have different.
Yeah, it's like there's social.
You have to tune yourself into each.
Yeah, like joining a Discord call with a slur.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be an example of bad.
The negative affordance.
Yeah, I suppose. Or joining a new Discord server, you have to acclimate yourself to it, I suppose.
The cringe affordance, anyway.
Case, because the other thing to remember is that you don't want to come preloaded, because the point is that So the lesson of Bernstein's repetition without repetition is that every single time you move, you are generating that movement on the fly under the self-organizing under the constraints of the specific moment in time that you are currently operating under.
Yeah.
And every single time, those constraints will be slightly different. Hence, you get variation. You get repetition without repetition, right? And so, it's important that from the get-go, that's how the system is built, because that's how the system is going to have to operate for the entirety of its existence, right? So you don't want to build behavior out of a set of static reflexes or whatever.
You can't start with exploitation, basically, can you?
You have to start. Yeah, you have to start with the capacity to explore and interact, and to perceive and to act, and to generate and have behavior emerge in real time under constraints, right? Under the current constraints.
Before we pressed record, I was just telling Rob about some of the data I'm just looking at, and how much in the equestrian sports that explore, exploit is happening, even at the highest level in the moment riding. There is always that openness to what might change, and so it's really interesting how open that is, because there's a horse involved. That it's so context sensitive. So these riders are not closing. I mean, there's good skill, skilled intentionality, but that's the explore bit is staying open, really obvious and open. I think that it's. I think it's just such an interesting thing that you say. I think, well, with animals, many animals, they have these long childhoods so that the young of the species can get good at learning to explore, learning to learn, learning to explore their environments, become attuned to it. And the more behavioral flexibility is needed of an adult, the longer the childhood is of a particular species.
Yes.
Makes
perfect sense.
Didn't think of that before. That's true.
Yes.
So I think I most of the key points.
I'm just trying to flip through my notes.
It is maybe value for you, but ecology is not. There's so many quotes in this.
I know.
Highlighted. I heard them, read them before, but I don't think, like I said at the start, I think we underplay the shift this is I think people don't realize. Oh yeah, I get affordances, but it's a huge shift in the way in thinking.
It is a shift.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
Well, because it's so actually
I think
right. So the one other thing I was going to point out, there's on page 120.
you wanna pause it?
What? Yeah, what's
I think it's even more of a deep shift when you like I don't know. Every time we got into the when we all got into these conversations about like the ecological approach, it kind of so quickly always evolve also into like physics and thermodynamics and all of these fields of science that like yeah, I think it's very right that it's like a deep shift because of all the other implications that it has on every other field. Where it's like, okay, if we have this concept of affordances, well, what kind of physics do we need for that? Then we get to that, and we kind of start having thoughts about like a more thermodynamic approach and how that can help us understand evolution. I guess it's the whole spiral theory of knowledge, right? We have this whole new concept in psychology and like something that's very advanced in the natural world, right? It's like one of the most complex system that exists today, and we see how this new form of organization actually tells us so much more about everything else.
Yeah, it's like it's really only the ecological approach that could let you do that kind of spiraling and like branching out to all these different fields with such like ease,
Mhm.
you know, because it's like with other approaches, it's just like, oh no, like we can't talk about physics. That's not our thing, or whatever. It's like we don't
Yep.
touch that.
And in all the ecological, I mean, a part where it has hugely influenced my thinking really is economics and bringing like the concept of knowledge and the structure of information into thinking about economics and kind of like the economic array, if we want to use that term. Like, what does prices actually mean? Like, what's the knowledge, the information that's structured by all economic activity, and what we can kind of grasp with that in mind about things like state or like economic exchange. I think it's such a
Yeah.
powerful tool just in epistemology and in philosophy broadly, but there's so much I think that it can tell us in everything else.
Mm-hmm.
26, there's a little sidebar that just says to perceive an affordance is not to classify an object.
yes.
And well, yeah, Ed have a paper around this. They get very excited about it, but it's quite an important point, right? So, it's the affordance is a property that numerous things can have, and a single thing can have multiple affordances.
Yes.
So when you say that this, when I pick up an object and say this is throwable, I'm not naming the object. I'm not categorizing it. I'm not classifying it. I'm simply saying one of the all I'm doing is I'm perceiving one of the affordances. And so, the fact that a stone is a missile does not imply that it cannot be other things as well. It can be a paperweight,
Stone is a
a
missile.
hammer, or a pendulum bob. It can be piled on another rock to make a cairn or a stone wall. These affordances are all consistent with one another. And so basically, he's just pointing, this is a Wittgenstein thing, right? Where like you're trying to come up with the necessary and sufficient characteristics of a category so that you can definitely rule in everything that's a member and definitely rule out everything that's not a member. And Wittgenstein was like, it just doesn't, language does not work that way.
What's
and
that? I know it when I see it.
There's a famous thing about like you like I can't remember. I think you end up if you try and come up with the necessary and sufficient features for a table, you end up not being able to exclude horses.
Yeah.
So this one shows up actually. This is actually quite important. So in machine vision, right, like self-driving cars and things like that, you see this. Tesla do this all the time. They get demos of their technology, and they get very excited about the fact that their technology is constantly scanning, and it picks up the fact that that person is a nun, and that's a wall, and then it goes through a decision tree where it says if none, don't run over; if wall, don't hit; if you have to choose, hit wall rather than none, right? And so, but that's not how behavior works, right?
No.
Behavior doesn't identify the object and then make decisions based on it. You perceive the affordance and you interact with the affordance, right? So I think about it, if you see a cat or a fox here running across the road, getting out of the way of the car, the fox does not know, or nor does it have to know, what a car is.
Yeah.
All it has to do is pick up the affordances of the object coming towards it and know that it wants to get out of the way and couple to it so that it gets out of the way. But it's really, again, that makes affordances completely different from every other theory of perception.
Yeah.
Theories of perception are all about, how do we know what an object is? How do I know that that's a wine glass? What are the features of it that enable me to look it up in the right place and categorize it, and yada, yada, yada. And Gibson's like, you don't need to do any of that, right?
Yeah.
This is all about, you just pick up the affordances of the object. And the fact that it's a coffee mug and the fact that it's a tea mug, the fact that it's a wine glass are all irrelevant. You just pick them up because they all share the same affordance, right?
Yeah, that's where it
mentioned this before.
also comes with the. I think that's something that G said earlier, that the affordances are what give us like access to the other properties of the object. Like the principle, the primary quality is the affordance, and then it's the variables that's stipulated, and we can then after like take those variables apart. Like there's not like mug as opposed to glass. Like there's not an actual difference. It's just that it's not the thing that matters at first. Like it doesn't really matter whether you can whether you call it a mug or a glass. Both can be grabbed.
Yeah, everyone's always trying to give it its own like separate category, but it's like, well, you're kind of just making the problem more difficult for yourself. Like,
the categories are not the first thing. They're not the thing that matters for action. Like the categories that we make as humans to like separate a mug from a glass, and then think about the different situations where each is best fit. Like that, those are still about affordances, but they're I don't think I have the right word. You were trying to say something, Book.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that one of the arguments for immanent realism, Aristotelian realism about universals, is that if you didn't know that sort of, if there wasn't a cupness that was in each instance of a cup, then you wouldn't know that it's a cup and that you can use it as a cup. But this would, I think this clears up that you don't actually need to know that it's a cup in order to pick it up. You just need to know that it's grabbable, it's pickable, and pourable, I suppose.
The cupness is a relation that you can make afterward, right?
Yeah,
like you take, oh, that cup is more like that cup than it is that glass, and that's where you're like, okay, well, those are cups and that's a glass. But it's not relevant to sight, really. Like just like you said, like a fox or a deer, it's not looking at those bright lights coming toward it. Well, maybe the deer, I don't know, sometimes they don't move, but like they're not thinking, oh, is this a car? Well, okay, if it's in that category of the car, then it means that if it hits me, I'm going to explode on its windshield. No, like that's completely,
just see something
that's
going fast,
not needed at all. It just, oh, a big thing goes fast toward me.
Yeah,
and
it's like same thing with
the
the
thing that we do as
birds.
humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they
What
like
we
the deer, they haven't like experience. They don't have a lot of experience with like seeing these cars, and it's like maybe it's their first time seeing a car coming right down the road at them, and they're like, "Oh, what's that? That seems interesting," and then they just get ran over.
Is it? I think the fact that they don't move might be like when there's a crack, they're gonna, or a noise, they're gonna stop moving. They're gonna try to see if it's something before running. I don't know. Maybe it's something more with how deers deal with like sudden new information. Like they don't just start
According
bolting
to the
away.
slogan, it's because there's light. Deer cut in the headlights.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's true though.
But that's attention. It's just yeah. What I think it goes back to what a lot. I can't remember where I first read it, but that our conception of psychology is so human-centric, like, or in the traditional approach, where we're starting with like these unique properties that humans have, where we have this language, and we have those categories that we make where we describe these objects, and so thinkers assume, oh well, I guess those are the things that I deal with every day. They must be the basis for perception. That's kind of almost what we see when we're saying, oh well, there needs to be this cupness in the cup, and that's how I see the cup. Where the ecological approach comes in and says, well, that's definitely not the case for every other living thing, and they definitely act and do many things that we do too without these categorizations, and it still works, right? That those are not the basis for perception. What we do fits our niche, right? It's highly useful to be able to categorize these things, but it's in some way secondary to the basis for perception.
So important for if we subscribe to evolution and that human beings have evolved, it gets us where we are now. But it also allows animals agency. But for like for me, it meant that if I use affordances and ecological dynamics, I have some sensible framework to look at multi-species relationships, activities. It's not available in any other theory at all.
Yes, right, because it's not about overlapping knowledge bases, it's about overlapping affordance perception.
Yeah, within a real world that is being experienced by two species.
And affordances are public, knowledge is private. How could you share your knowledge? Well, I don't have to, because we all share the affordances, right?
Yeah. I really notice you get kicked. You really notice this. You get kicked into this mode when you're trying to do something and you can't find.
It makes me think of that because
it was interesting.
They just mentioned Wittgenstein, and I remember that was a big thing. You know that language is private in the way, and you can't actually know what someone else is really thinking. They're kind of, and what they just said, eliminating this idea at all. Like, sure, I can't copy and paste my knowledge to you, but my knowledge is about something that's public in that sense. Like concepts are not our definitions. Concepts are not these language games that we have in our mind. They are properties outside, and I can point to it, and
Concepts
we
are
can
concrete, you could say.
refer to the same thing. Oh yeah.
So basically, it's you don't need someone else to explain it to you. The other person can just show you where they got the concepts from, basically.
Yeah, you can point to
it. Well, that's going to be the best way to actually make someone understand too, right? Like more and more I'm realizing when I'm talking to some people where it's just trying to reify the idea without any example ever, and I'm like, you're adding more words, but I'm not getting anything more. I'm not getting anything that exemplifies anything.
You're
Like,
just trying to play
we
word
need
games.
like I think you've probably seen it, Sakura. I think you were in Rothbard's apartment, but that's kind of how I feel talking to Schizoid Methylander, where I'm giving very clear examples of like what a potential is physically, and I'm not getting any example of what like an eternal object is in this like post-Platonic view. And I'm not understanding what even it's supposed to be. Like you're not going to get me with more words. You're adding words, but I don't have any reference for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever Schizoid was saying is, I mean, it just presupposes whatever he believes.
Yeah, there's more issue, but I think that
you can't attribute hunger to God without presupposing that God is hunger. You know what I mean? Like, you have to presuppose it.
That's
what
a big. It's a big tangent. This is a big tangent.
Schizoid's like a whiteheadian like process.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the point was really well merged with other things. Even when they were talking about affordances, where Gibson was, using examples and trying to make concrete the concept of affordance, not by giving you a definition, not by giving you a list of words or a list of properties, by giving you examples of what it means, and that really goes with like objective epistemology. Like think in examples. What is the thing you're talking about? What particular aspect of the world are you trying to point to? It's not like meaning in your head that's just language, words put together. It's actually something
It's a
that's
reference in
meaningful.
language. What are you referring to?
Can keep going if
For
no
it.
one has
Like
anything to
when
add.
I was in the garage the other weekend trying to hang something on the wall and I couldn't find the hammer. But suddenly I can kick into affordance mode. Like I need something hard that I can swing, you find a rock or so you will find something else. Right? It's not designed for that at all, but you will get it. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of a this
My friends, we were on holiday once, and we were sitting around the lounge of the house we were in, and we were all very comfortable. And I think I wanted a drink, but I couldn't reach it. It was over on the other side of the room, and none of us wanted to get up. And because we were all huge nerds, we all
You were
immediately
definitely
started
haul
trying to
high.
figure out how to.
What?
He said, if you're all sitting there and no one wants to get up, you're definitely all drunk or high. Like there's no way that someone that's just there talking is gonna be, nah, I don't want to stand up and go grab a drink. Like you're definitely count block. Like this.
You definitely drank too much.
How to get the beer to us without getting out of our chairs, given what we had available to us, and it immediately became known as the affordances game because I had my friends very well trained at this point. And so, but it was like we were just trying to find objects that had the properties that we needed. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Fun game though.
And independent of what the property, didn't care what the object was. Did it have the property? Right, and that's what affordances are. Turvey's the Turvey et al. 1981 paper has. It has this whole section about the marsh periwinkle and about how it interacts with grass. The reason why I have that whole section in that paper is this issue, right? Yeah. It's clarifying the reason why perceiving properties of objects is better than picking objects up and then figuring out what the object can do for you. Only one of those works. Picking up the affordance to act on it works. Identifying the object and then looking up a list of things you can do with it is an intractable problem.
No, that's where the big shift. Like even this applies to sports, right? We perceive the positions of players. We recognize they're playing this defense against me. Then I decide what to do. Yeah. No, we just spaces. There's an opening. Right? We don't need the classification identification stage.
Nope.
Between that, just there's not necessary at all.
It just
makes sense.
It doesn't really help you that much, right?
Yeah.
You have to create yourself a different problem. All you do is take the thing out of the environment, put it in your head. What do you do next, right? Yeah. So, I gotta run to another meeting, guys. You gotta wrap it up. But yeah. So good. That was a good one. Classic. Yeah. But, read that one now. Brett Fajan and Michael Turvey and I can't remember who else. Riley. There's a sports one.
Oh, they did in 2009 or something. Yeah,
that's a really good paper. I recommend. That talks a lot about your issue you mentioned, Andrew, with affordance decay and appear.
Yeah.
Even they recommend papers to read.
But yeah, that's a really good discussion.
Did that sit then behind
Post
school
the link.
intentionality framework that I did?
Post the link. Post the link.
We keep them open until
give me a Google Drive, bro.
And they start or decay as we're moving and doing things.
Sort of. It interacts with the idea of affordances as relations rather than properties. But yeah.
What did you want to go back like 15 seconds?
Sure.
You said affordance as relations, and I think it might connect to like the whole disposition talk.
But yeah, that's a really good discussion of affordances. But
did that sit then behind skilled intentionality framework that I did? Affordances are we keep them open until as long as possible, and they start or decay as we're moving and doing things.
Sort of. It interacts with the idea of affordances as relations rather than properties. But yeah, the skilled intentionality framework, distinct from that notion of affordances, is actually it gets into it's a pretty good vocabulary for talking about all of these things about what skill is. Skill is maintaining yourself in that critical zone where things remain open to you for useful amounts of time, for example. And that's part of skillful interaction and engagement with your environment, is putting yourself in the position where the gap remains open, for example.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, we'll wrap it up there, everyone. I think it was fun. We got, so we'll see you next time.
Oh yeah, we're into a new section, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
It's all good.
Cool.
Nice.
Beyonce, damn. Yeah, that was a very good talk.
Yeah,
Say
man,
about
dude,
the
it would be
examples
nice.
thing.
It would be nice to get Andrew Wilson in here. G was talking about how we should get some researchers in here.
Oh, that would be cool. That'd be crazy. I'm way too retarded to.
Yeah. They
But
totally
bro,
want to
I mean,
join
you
a
could ask
Discord
them
where
questions there. Like they would definitely be able to answer your questions that you have.
yeah, they totally want to join a Discord where somebody jumps in and just says slurs. So
Well, we'll just like I don't know, we'll just time those people out. Like, I mean, I just
You do a lock
disconnected that.
chat.
Yeah, can you make a locked one? Or you could do like a stage.
Oh yeah, you can
thing,
make a
no?
lock. Or yeah, we could do a stage. Yeah.
oh, a stage would be a great idea.
Yeah, a stage would be
Yeah,
great.
you would kind of need those.
Yeah, for something more
Because
professional. Like,
because we can't have G having the mic because yeah.
That would.
Maybe we'll let Eddie hold the mic.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I don't know. Maybe we could just have like the guest G, and I mean
You could
I'm
tell,
gonna like record it all. You know, because I'm the cameraman.
If I get Barry Smith, Eddie, you can ask him about Austrian economics because he wrote an extensive amount about it.
It'll be.
What
And
is
he
what
does
is
make a
this?
lot of
We would
Oh, is
love
this
to interrogate this view.
this video we watched? Is this a book review or is it a book club? What do you
Yeah.
call it?
Book club. Book club.
Yeah,
Book club.
Book club, I guess. Yeah, they're reading through. The title of the book is in the paper. It's like one of the big first book of James Gibson about the ecological approach.
It's let me look.
Third book.
Ecological approach to visual perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want the book static?
I need to.
I mean, I have it. I think I have access to it in the server.
Okay.
I should read
You
it.
can definitely watch the.
At some point. I also just notified the Eric guy if he wants to join now, but I'm not sure if he is seeing the messages. Like, because like G won't be able to have some be available for like a few weeks. He said. So.
I don't know who the guy is or even really.
I mean, he's
what's
objectivist, and
the-
he's like he has a bigger channel than like he gets more views than ARI. Definitely, I compared it to, and he uploads at the same rate too, so
Yeah.
it's kind of very comparable. So
He's got more
I mean,
views than the